eventually identify two of these offenders.
Both are charged as juveniles with sexual assault and the manufacturing and distribution of child pornography. Chicago police are looking for a man accused of sexually assaulting a woman on the south side. Authorities say the suspect grabbed the victim last night near 26th and Wentworth and pulled her pants down. Then he groped the woman before running off. 5 are hospitalized following a crash on the Dan Ryan Expressway on Chicago's south side. The accident happened yesterday near Garfield. 9 refused treatment on the scene. 1 victim is in serious condition. Authorities are investigating after 2 men were stabbed in Crystal Lake. Happened last night near a Taco Bell restaurant in the 400 block of Virginia. On this election day, there appears to be a distinct lack of interest in running for local office. It's been underscored by the situation in the Chicago suburbs as you go to the polls today, where there are a number of local races without candidates. Daily Herald reporting that election records show at least 150 races on suburban ballots do not have enough candidates, and that amount is double the number since 2009. Immigrant rights activists are getting behind a proposed state law that would create safe zones for undocumented residents and illegal immigrants, according to AM 560's David Stewart, who has an update on a press conference that happened yesterday.
The Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights is backing State Senator Don Harmon's bill that would bar federal immigration agents from schools, medical facilities, and Secretary of State's offices unless they have a criminal warrant. At a Chicago news conference Monday, the group said the bill would also clarify that state and local police are not expected to enforce or comply with federal immigration actions that don't involve a criminal warrant. The bill, called the Trust Act, also has the backing of Senate President John Cullerton, but it's not clear if Governor Rauner would sign it. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
And Tad Davis, an Illinois man, knows a thing or two about overcoming obstacles. Davis ran the Lincoln Presidential Half Marathon over the weekend in 1 hour and 47 minutes. In the year before that, he lost 150 pounds. His home to fire, and finished training living in a hotel with his family. 41-year-old Chatham resident now aims to run the Chicago Marathon on October 8th. Opening day for the White Sox being pushed back. Yesterday's scheduled game between the Tigers and Sox wiped out due to rain. Contest has been moved to 1:10 this afternoon. Cubs and Cardinals continue their season-opening 3-game set under the arch. Bulls battle the Knicks tonight in New York. Blackhawks clash with the Avalanche tonight. The news service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil, service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. 5:06 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Do you own or run a business in Illinois that succeeded in this challenging economic environment? If so, we want to hear about it. AM 560's Business Tour 2017, presented by Signature Bank, will be highlighting business success stories. Tell us your story and be a part of a live broadcast of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy. Find out more and submit your information at 560theanswer.com/business. That's 560theanswer.com/business.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
5:07 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. The latest with Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. Right now, things are remarkably quiet on the expressways and tollways. No problems to report on the Edens or the Kennedy. The express lanes are open inbound on the Kennedy. The Eisenhower and the Stevenson are fine. Just a little road work on the outbound Ryan at the south end near the split, but no delay at all. I-57, Bishop Ford, traffic starting to build inbound. There's no delay yet. Tollways are just fine. No problems to report in northwest Indiana. Careful around those polling places today on this election day for many. And, of course, you'll have some traffic at Bridgeport later this morning, weather permitting. The White Sox and the Tigers. Traffic is a service of the Chicago Office of Emergency Management and Communications. Know your location. If you call 911, tell the call taker where you are, especially if you're calling from a cell phone, so first responders can find you. Help them help you. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
A shower in a few spots early on. Otherwise, a mostly cloudy day today with a high 57. Overcast tonight with a little rain toward dawn, low 39. Then tomorrow increasingly windy with periods of rain. Cooler with a high tomorrow 43. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 47. Next news at 5:30 and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth. Tune in Saturday afternoons at 2 for Grow My Retirement with Bill Geiger of Geiger Wealth.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, your godless Tar Heels were able to eke out a brutal game.
Come on. Oh, a brutal game? Yeah, it was.
It was terrible. It was
Well,
like
they were down at the half, then they came back and scored 8 points, and then scored the last 8 points of the game. So our team won 71-65, and I won money for the first time in my life.
congratulations.
I've never gambled. This is how they get you.
Yeah,
Baby steps.
yeah. The first taste is free. That's right. So good luck with your gambling career.
Well, I won $100. I mean,
That's
that could pay for parking and an appetizer downtown Chicago.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, treat yourself to half a night out.
Table for one, please.
Right. Yeah, it was like watching Ewing's Knicks versus Lambier's Pistons. It was
Really?
There's
Yeah.
I mean, it was that whole second half was sponsored by the Bricklayers Local 21. Gonzaga was shot like 18% from the field for most of the second half.
I know.
But anyway, so congratulations to the Tar Heels. Dean Smith smiling down from on high.
Yes.
And
And there's
all of that
celebration
business.
because I know how you love this.
They go length of the court.
Mhm.
Archie Diacono. 3
Like
seconds.
I was
at
there.
midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship. The national champions with Jenkins hitting the winner at the buzzer.
What is that
I
from?
know.
What the hell is that?
That was the
That's
wrong...
not the championship game from last
no,
night.
that's not the championship game from last night.
No.
That was the women's game. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh gosh.
From the other night.
Does it ever end?
Excuse me.
I mean, the affront
Women's
to
basketball.
sports. Yeah. Oh, in other news, there was a women's basketball tournament too. Also, I know Mike Scott is shaming me
See,
for that.
can you turn
He's
on
he's the
Mike
he's the
Scott's mic?
biggest
Shame on
women's
you.
basketball fan.
No, it's okay. I understand.
Yeah.
Well, at least that game was more exciting than last night's game.
Well, the first
Sunday
half was
night
good.
game.
Which game?
The South Carolina Mississippi State game.
If I want to watch women's college basketball, I'll watch fifth grade boys basketball.
Oh,
Oh,
now that's
boy,
a bit
now,
rude.
now I'm really
That's a bridge
yeah.
too far, my
Yeah,
friend.
Wow.
now I'm really antagonizing.
Yes,
people.
you are.
Yeah.
Those,
Stop it.
those are fighting words, my man.
No, it's fine.
sorry.
Does Rebecca Lobo still play for UConn? That's where I kind of lost track.
She lost eligibility only last year.
Yeah, right. Anyway, so you've got your national championship
Ew.
Tar Heels.
Yeah, and did you go? I know your game was rained out, so You have a makeup game today, and there's free parking. That's exciting to get you guys to come back to Guaranteed Rate Field.
Yeah, I'm not going back.
Why not? Did
it
you
was-
go?
Yeah, I went.
Did you find the man cave or the beer cave?
No. But
Did
I
you
did.
tailgate?
I ran
What
into.
does Dan Proft
I ran
do?
into Mick O'Rourke from Signature Bank.
Oh, okay.
He bought me a beer, which was nice.
That's real nice.
And then I ran into two feudal lords from the Daly family.
Oh.
Really interesting. Richie and Johnny, these two clowns, sitting in the first row in my section, and went down, snapped a little picture, put it on Twitter and Facebook and all that because I want people to see. Because it was just last week that Richard Daley's medical condition precluded him from being deposed in the Burge torture civil trial. But it didn't preclude him from showing up on a cold, rainy day at Comiskey for opening day. And I just thought, hey, that's great. What a miraculous recovery.
I mean, really, what did he do to recover? What would ailed him in the first place? Do we just make up illnesses? I got a case of
balance of nature, I think, is what brought him back. I'm not positive.
I mean, I got a case of depositionitis here. I can't come in.
He's a slick one.
God, he's done that so many
Richie
times.
Daley.
You're right.
Yeah. And John Daly with the Sox hat on.
Have they gotten taller?
No, they haven't gotten taller, but they've gotten wider. And John Daly looks like the Joker from Batman. He's got like
I have to see this tweet.
Yeah, take a look at Dan Profter on my Facebook page. He's got like this big coif of hair protruding out from underneath his Sox hat.
Really?
Yeah,
Is it a
looks-
mullet? Is it a permed?
I mean,
what is it?
Well, no, I don't know. It's
Do you
just
have a rat tail with that
he-
too? It's
he-
just
He looks like he may have been spending some time in a cabin in Montana writing his manifesto before he headed over to the South Side yesterday. I'm not sure. So that was my day. Nice to run into Mick O'Rourke from Signature Bank.
Yeah.
Not so nice to run into
The
the
Daley.
Dailies and other members of various crime families at Comiskey Park, which is
here's a
de
question.
rigueur for opening day.
I know it's not election year this year, so was Mayor Emanuel there with his White Sox
Tiny
jacket
Dancer
on?
was also there. Thank you for
Oh.
reminding me.
Okay, because sometimes he acts like a Sox fan, to be cool with the cats on that side, and then sometimes he's the biggest Cub fan ever.
Yeah, he's the biggest something.
Uh-huh.
And also Super Mario was there. Chewy Garcia. He was there. So, all the hack politicians that come to.
Really?
It's just something you have to endure, particularly on opening day at Comiskey. So
Who threw out the first pitch? Oh, they didn't have it.
Scotty Potts.
Oh, Scotty Potts?
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
did
they
have
did
him
do
come
that?
out. Yeah,
All right.
REO Speedwagon did sing the national anthem.
That's
And
awesome.
Scotty Potts did throw out the first pitch, and then people just milled about and drank because the game got called.
And there's the makeup game is today at 1:10. Did I mention free parking?
Yeah, you're going to have to keep mentioning that to fill that stadium, I'm afraid.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Forecast for today, all you Sox fans, I think you're going to be able to get in the game. We're going to have a shower in spots early this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, high of 55 degrees. Tonight, overcast with a little rain toward dawn. And then tomorrow, we're going to have increasingly windy conditions with periods of rain, cooler, a high of 44. What do they say? April showers bring May flowers. That's hopefully going to happen. That's what they say. And let's hear what Jim Talamonte has to say in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Well, good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Happy second opening day, we hope. Right now, it's pretty quiet on the expressways and tollways. Surprisingly quiet, really. Getting a little bit of heavy traffic now in inbound I-57 from Halstead to the Merge. Got that ongoing closure of the left lane for CTA work. Just a 1 or 2 minute delay right now. Bishop Ford, even less congested, just a little bit heavy approaching the Rhine. The Rhine itself still good. No delays to report on the Edens, the Kennedy, or the Eisenhower. The tollways are fine. No problems to report in northwest Indiana. Careful around those polling places this morning. Watch for pedestrians, especially in the suburbs. It is election day for many. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Follow the world's best golfers at the 81st Masters Tournament, April 3rd through the 9th on the tournament's official website, masters.com. Log on all week long to experience a tradition unlike any other and follow the Masters on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Masters.com offers live, full-screen HD video coverage, including the Par 3 contest, plus real-time scoring, up-to-the-minute tournament news, and more. Masters.com, your official online source for the 2017 Masters.
Hiring is the most challenging part of my job.
We started using ZipRecruiter about 3 months ago. One click and my job was posted to 200 plus job boards, all the top sites.
All of the candidates came to my dashboard, and it's easy to compare them.
And I couldn't believe the number of great applicants we got. I don't know how we hired before ZipRecruiter.
Find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just one click away from 200 plus job sites. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio offer. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio offer.
When you think about spring, what comes to mind? Baseball, tulips, spring cleaning? How about cleaning up your home? Hi, Amy Jacobson here to tell you about our good friends at CertaPro Painters. Spring has arrived, and it's a great time to focus on your exterior painting. Don't deny how ugly it is. You know, the chipping, peeling eyesore of a front porch. So do what I did and call CertaPro Painters now. 1-800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. They really are the best in the business. They're clean, responsible, talented. They increased our property values. They're such a top-notch company. They've been around for 25 years and counting. So do what I did and experience the CertaPro difference. 1-800-GO-CERTA or CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, or hear about it from your friends, find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we have to get to our good friend Susan Rice now that she's back front and center in the news. But Ed from Oak Brook has a sports question. Ed, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good, I'm doing fine. Thanks for taking my call. You know, this is a question for Amy and you, Dan.
It
Who
is.
would win, the top high school basketball team, you know, boys basketball team, versus the top women's pro basketball team? And I'll hang up and listen to your answer.
Thanks for the call, Ed. It's a great question.
Who won that WNBA title this year? Mike Scott, do you remember?
The only team I know is the Chicago Sky. Did they win?
I know the Chicago Sky, too. They were in the finals.
It was
either
either
L.A.
It was at Phoenix, L.A., or Minnesota.
It really doesn't matter.
No,
the
but
answer to your question,
if they played
Ed,
Morgan Park or if they played Whitney Young,
top women's
they would
team
win.
would win every time.
They'd kill them.
Yeah, they'd destroy a good high school boys team.
Yeah,
a good college
they have
women's
great
team.
court awareness.
A good college women's team would destroy a good high school boys team.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
I totally
Sure
disagree. I completely
I bet
disagree.
my children's lives on it.
Oh, no, you wouldn't.
My gosh. That escalated quickly. You went from winning $100 to putting Peyton and Eli's lives on the line. This is how gambling addiction starts. Good Lord. No. I rarely disagree with Mike Scott, particularly in the area of basketball, but this is a disagreement. You put like Whitney Young against a top women's college team, and it's going to be close. If you put like the McDonald's All-American team against a women's college team, the McDonald's All-American
Unquestionably,
team
you're
wins.
right. Unquestionably, you're right.
Los Angeles Sparks won the WNBA this year.
Oh, great.
Well, they played the Minnesota Lynx
Yeah.
because I know you care.
We're happy for both of them. And especially the Lynx because they played a great series. So
It
I
wasn't a
suspect.
buzzer
And Tom
beater,
Thibodeau
but,
was on their bench, so
Well, okay.
A little bit of envy.
No, but it's a great question he asked because that's the whole conversation about melding the sports, right? As we're melding gender into something that doesn't exist, then we have to eliminate all the gender distinctions in sports. And maybe like a Brittany Griner on the outside as like a kicker on a men's football team. There would not be a single woman playing college basketball at Division I level.
Or professional.
Well,
I mean, we would
obviously professional. That's just comical. Should think
on
of
the D1 level, I think that's
Maybe
probably
Division III?
without question.
Yeah,
I think that's
I mean,
probably
and take the greatest women. Take
That's right.
Cheryl Miller. Take Cheryl Swoops. Take the greatest women.
Catchings, Tamika Catchings, any of them. Yeah.
It's just the physical strength,
Right.
the speed, the quickness, which is all a function of physical strength. It's just a different level because it turns out this is true. Men and women are different.
No.
I mean, it's a revelatory. I
Just
know.
look at you two.
Exactly.
You're the same.
Yeah.
No.
It's like looking into a mirror over here.
I'm Don and you're Roma, right? Hey,
All right,
speaking of
thanks for
basketball,
that,
but
Ed.
real quick, there's a big debate already whether or not UNC, the champions, should go visit the White House.
Oh, God.
Well, because last month at the ACC tournament, Roy Williams made a comment about Donald Trump. He was asked a question about social media, and he kind of went off on the Trumpster.
Now everybody's got social media. We don't need the New York Times to find out what in the dickens is going on in the country. Our president tweets out more bullshit than anybody I've ever seen. So, so we got all kinds of social media. But in the old days, there's no question it was the media capital of the world. But I'm not sure that it is now because media capital of the world is sitting right there, right there, right there.
So some people are saying that because of that comment he made last month, he might not get an invitation from President Trump to visit the White House. Or should we be done with those visits anyway?
They're so put upon, and then you have to go through this pantomime where the President of the United States, with a few exceptions, pretends to know anything about sports or pretends to be athletic, like we had with that dink who was there for the last 8 years up until January. I mean, it just stop. Stop filling out brackets. Stop pretending you play basketball. Stop pretending you know any player of the White Sox. Just be like Trump. Look, I guess I like sports. I like sports more for the celebrity aspect of it. But I'm not going to fill out a bracket. I'm not throwing out first pitches. I'm not doing stuff that is
he broke a
ceremonial in nature.
110-year tradition, though, by not throwing out the first pitch at the Nationals game.
So what?
I don't know.
Oh, gosh, if the president doesn't throw out the first pitch, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life.
No, I'm
Please.
okay with my life.
I mean, it's just, ugh.
And Dawn Staley already answered that question for the South Carolina women. She said, we're going.
Yeah.
And if South Carolina, I mean, she didn't, it was no controversy.
She doesn't care who's there.
In
They're
her
just
first
gonna
sentence,
go.
she said, stop. Everybody goes to the White House. We're going.
Yeah, and
end of discussion.
And I assume North Carolina will get it. Although Roy Williams made the point that when they won in 2005, they didn't get invited to the White
Well,
House.
no, when they got the invite, half of his team was already practicing for European clubs, trying out for the NBA. He couldn't get the team together.
Well, whatever.
So it wasn't personal. It was just
the
logistics couldn't work out.
Yeah, the fascinating logistics of all this. Let's get really into the details. Teams get invited to the White House. They all go, and sometimes, like you've had for different players on different teams for different presidents, they don't go for whatever reason. Yawn.
Well, Jake Arrieta didn't go, and I
I
don't
know.
think you were yawning.
No, it was great. I'm glad he didn't go. I'm glad that you've got one member of the Cubs that I can actually support and actually root for. It's great. Super. And then it passes just that quickly. I mean, with the obsession.
And then it's over.
The obsession with the idiosyncratic, particularly in entertainment, is kind of a sign of cultural decline.
Maybe
in my
Melania can
estimation.
meet them if Trump wasn't there. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Did you see her portrait?
I did.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
This just in. Melania is a good-looking woman.
I don't think they had to Photoshop that picture whatsoever, but it was the official portrait came out, and she was wearing this $3 million ring that Donald gave her, and the left went crazy. But he's a rich man, and if he wants to spend his money and buy his wife a beautiful ring, then she should be able to wear the beautiful ring without criticism.
What's the criticism?
Oh, that it was too expensive and frivolous spending, and they should be more conservative, and blah blah blah. They act conservative. They should be fiscally conservative and not spend have $3 million diamond rings.
Yeah, is that a 3-month salary for Donald Trump? Isn't that the rule? 3-month salary.
Oh, that's
right. I think that comes under. Actually.
Yeah, I actually, you know what? Yeah, she got robbed a little bit.
And for those champagne socialists, which federal agency did they donate their first quarter salary to?
Right.
Because Donald Trump donated his to the National Park Service. Not that that's where I would put my money, but
it was a big check too. It was a real big check.
But for
he won the lotto.
Well, for the left though, I mean, the left is always about funding government.
Right. So
all of your champagne socialist friends with the husbands making $500,000 or more up in Lakeview, which federal agency did they donate their first quarter's household income to in support of big government the way that President Trump did, I wonder. And put that to them when they're,
drinking the bubblies?
Yeah, when they're getting all green over Melania's ring.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Speed Queen washers and dryers. built for commercial use and now available for the home, are designed to last over 10,400 cycles or 25 years. But if you're an overworked multi-kids 10 loads a week kind of laundry doer, these machines may only last 20 years, even with Speed Queen's commercial quality metal components. So, buy a Speed Queen knowing you may be in for a mere 20 years of continuous use. Visit us at speedqueen.com.
Allergy sufferers are hearing a lot of numbers these days about symptoms and relief. But the number sufferers want most is zero, as in zero nasal allergy symptoms. And nothing gets you closer to zero than Nasacort. Because unlike antihistamines that stop only one cause of your allergy symptoms, Nasacort stops more. And stopping more gets you closer to zero. For 24-hour relief of your worst nasal allergy symptoms, including congestion, choose Nasacort. It stops more of what makes you miserable. Use as directed.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dave Geiselhart, president and owner of Home Trust Mortgage and customer of Signature Bank. When the large banks turned away from the mortgage lending industry during the financial crisis, I turned to locally owned Signature Bank. Signature Bank stepped in and helped me expand our business at a time when the larger banks wouldn't. Today, I'm proud to say Home Trust Mortgage has been able to expand our business in Illinois and the Great Lakes region. We couldn't have done that without the help of Signature Bank. Signature Bank truly helps Chicago businesses like mine grow and thrive. That's why we also became personal customers and shareholders of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Harvey owns a building and wants to save money by making his heating and cooling system more energy efficient.
Yes.
But Harvey's afraid of the cost and if he can get a return on his investment.
I am indeed.
Plus, he's nervous about disrupting the businesses that rent space in his building. Harvey doesn't know what to do with an HVAC system that's seen better days. The Air Comfort problem solvers to the rescue. Working as a team, the Air Comfort professionals find simple solutions that make a huge impact on building efficiency and operating costs, with minimal or no disruptions to building operations. HVAC upgrades and retrofits from Air Comfort can save thousands of dollars per year. They save energy, reduce maintenance, and eliminate downtime. And buildings with better energy ratings command higher rents and selling prices, and make tenants happy. Get real solutions from the Air Comfort team of problem solvers. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com and start saving money today. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, Susan Rice is back.
Is she cooked rice?
The fall guy. Well, yeah, that's pretty good.
I know. I make food analogies when I can.
All right, well,
Yes.
all of Susan Rice's greatest hits coming up at 5:38.
But first, let's go into the newsroom to a wonderful man, big basketball fan, women's and men's. Here's Mike Scott.
46 degrees, 12-mile-an-hour winds out of the west. We're tracking developments for you this morning in Russia, where a young man from an unstable region of Kyrgyzstan apparently set off a suicide bomb in the Russian city of St. Petersburg yesterday. That, according to police updating that investigation. The explosion on the subway system yesterday killed 14 and injured more than 50. The homemade bomb went off on a train traveling between two stations in central St. Petersburg. Heading toward a partisan showdown over Senate rules, Republicans and Democrats set to open a floor debate on whether to confirm President Donald Trump's pick for the U.S. Supreme Court. Presidential spokesman Sean Spicer.
If the Democrats get their way, and I know the numbers are looking that way, this is going to be the first successful filibuster of a nominee to join the Supreme Court, which is clearly unprecedented.
Democrats secured the necessary support to block Neil Gorsuch from that high seat from a filibuster perspective after Chris Coons announced he was going against the Gorsuch nomination. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell is ready to lead the GOP now in a unilateral floor procedure change so significant it's been dubbed the nuclear option. A deeply conservative state, Tennessee, voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump and his tough stance on immigration. And yet some GOP lawmakers there are now pushing for a proposal that would allow public colleges in Tennessee to offer in-state tuition rates to students whose parents brought them into the country illegally. If the lawmakers succeed, Tennessee would follow the lead of Washington, D.C., the only other local government to pass such an ordinance since Donald Trump took office in January. Other stories we're following this morning. One man is dead following a crash involving an unmarked Chicago police squad car on South Michigan Avenue last night. Chicago police are looking for a man accused of sexually assaulting a woman on the south side near 26th and Wentworth. Authorities investigating after two men were stabbed in northwest suburban Crystal Lake. Happened near a Taco Bell restaurant last night. Both victims this morning are hospitalized. And UPS is including Chicago as one of its 15 cities where this month it will begin offering Saturday package delivery and pickup. Rivals already handle packages on Saturday, and the move is designed to help UPS keep up with the growth in shipments resulting for the increase in online shopping. Opening day for the White Sox pushed back. Yesterday's game rained out. Contest moved to this afternoon at 1:10. Cubs and Cardinals continue their season-opening three-game set in St. Louis. Bulls battle the Knicks tonight, while the Blackhawks clash with the Avalanche in Colorado. The news service of the Chicago Office of Emergency Management and Communications. Help keep Chicago safe. Report suspicious activity. If you see something, say something by calling 855-777-8274. 5:34 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560, The Answer.
Mike Gallagher doesn't understand why Republicans tear each other down.
Why do Republicans act this way? Why can't Republicans embrace the power of unity, the ability to legislate and make change and fulfill the campaign promises of the guy who's at the top of the party and seems determined to do what he said he's going to do?
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Skip traffic and save money with Metro's 95% on-time dependability and 10-ride ticket that makes every 10th ride free. For fares and schedules, visit metrorail.com.
Kim O'Neill talking about balance of nature.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. I don't take any supplementation, but I take Balance of Nature because I've seen it in my lab. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection, and I know that it works.
Balance of Nature is providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
5:36 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. On Chicago's north side, Sheridan Road is closed right now between Foster and Bryn Mawr. There's some police activity there. The CTA is rerouting the 147 and 151 Sheridan buses. You can use Lakeshore Drive or Broadway to get around that. No delays to report yet on the Edens, Kennedy or Eisenhower. Stevenson inbound heavy Cicero to Pulaski and State to Lakeshore Drive. 37 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Ryan, 17 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 18. Tollways are good. Traffic and the service of Tire Kingdom. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee. For tires, oil, service, and repairs, Tire Kingdom. That's all you need. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. We'll have a shower in spots. In fact, a little light rain moving into the area right now. Otherwise cloudy throughout the day and a high near 55. Overcast overnight, low 38. And a blustery day tomorrow with a high only of 44. 46 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Fly By Night with your host, comedian, and entertainer extraordinaire Ken Severa. Saturdays at midnight on AM 560. The Answer.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, we haven't had Susan Rice in the crucible like this since way back right after 9/11, 2012, the Benghazi attack. You remember Susan Rice. She was...
And about the video, right?
She was trotted out as the White House patsy.
Yeah, because Hillary Clinton, sorry for interrupting, but Hillary Clinton was too upset over the death of Chris Stevens that Susan Rice had to take her place on the Sunday morning talk shows.
Yeah, so she was there to spin the lie that the administration concocted.
Based on the best information we have to date, what our assessment is as of the present is in fact what it began spontaneously in Benghazi as a reaction to what had transpired some hours earlier in Cairo, where, of course, as you know, there was a violent protest outside of our embassy sparked by this hateful video. But soon after that spontaneous protest began outside of our consulate in Benghazi, we believe that it looks like extremist elements, individuals joined in that effort with heavy weapons of the sort that are unfortunately readily now available in Libya post-revolution, and that it spun from there into something much, much more violent.
But you do not agree with him that this was something that had been plotted out several months ago?
We do not have information at present that leads us to conclude that this was premeditated or pre-planned.
Right, and so that 60 seconds of Susan Rice you just heard back in September of 2012 was a complete fabrication. So just understand, listen to the kind of the room temperature tone of voice. She's very composed. She sounds very professional, in command of the information, and she is lying.
Well, did she?
And
did she know she was lying?
They all knew that it was a lie. They knew that night it was a lie. We have the communiques from Hillary Clinton to heads of state as well as to Chelsea.
Right.
So,
but I'm asking: did Susan Rice know that it was a lie? Did
so
they just present that information and say this is what you're going to say?
The National Security Advisor didn't know a week after it happened, going into the Sunday talk shows. Is that a credible story to believe? No, right. So here's now what we know about Susan Rice. Fast forward, Eli Lake reporting in Bloomberg yesterday, top advisors sought names of Trump associates in Intel. Now, just a quick aside, this Michael Cernovich guy who writes for Medium, who's one of these fake news providers, he was
profiled on 60 Minutes, right?
Correct. So he actually, I think, had it first. And some people brought it to my attention even like right after the show yesterday, and I just said it's not a credible source. It turns out that he was right about this, at least in terms of the idea that Susan Rice was the individual doing the unmasking. It turns out that he's right. It still doesn't make him a credible source. It just makes him right in this instance. So just FYI. So I'm going to refer to Eli Lake and other more consistently credible sources. Top advisors sought names of Trump associates in Intel. White House lawyers last month learned that the former National Security Advisor, Susan Rice, requested the identities of U.S. persons in raw intelligence reports on dozens of occasions that connect to the Donald Trump transition and campaign. The pattern of Rice's request was discovered in an NSC, National Security Council, review of the government's policy on unmasking the identities of individuals in the U.S. who are not targets of electronic eavesdropping, but whose communications are collected incidentally. Normally, those names are redacted from summaries of monitored conversations and appear in reports as something like U.S. Person 1, and this is what we've talked about before. But U.S. officials who spoke with Bloomberg on the condition of anonymity said that Rice's multiple requests to unmask U.S. persons in intelligence reports that related to relate to Trump transition activities. And the Wall Street Journal picks it up from there, their sources. our source did confirm that Ms. Rice also examined dozens of other intelligence summaries that technically masked Trump identities, but were written in such a way as to make obvious who those officials were, which we've discussed before, meaning the masking was essentially meaningless. All this is highly unusual. Unmasking does occur, but it's typically done by intelligence or law enforcement officials engaged in anti-terror or espionage investigations. Ms. Rice would have no obvious need to unmask Trump campaign officials other than political curiosity.
Right. So it wasn't in the interest of national security. It was in the interest of political retribution, possibly?
Well, monitoring your opponents using
But it's not illegal. I mean, it sounds so bad, unmasking. Ooh, it sounds sinister, but is it legal what she did?
That's
what everyone's arguing this morning.
That's an open question because we don't have answers to a lot of questions, which is why you've had people, including Senator Rand Paul, also already suggest that Susan Rice needs to testify before House and Senate committees. The Journal goes on this point just to make it clear that what we're talking about here is using the apparatus of the state to spy on political opponents. Is that troubling? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. The Journal's op-ed goes, or their staff editorial goes on to say, we're told by a source who has seen the unmasked documents, they included political information about the Trump's transition team's meetings and policy intentions. We're also told that none of these documents had anything to do with Russia or the FBI investigation into ties between Russia and the Trump campaign. So that's an important point, and it also leads to, frankly, buttressing House Intel Chairman Devin Nunes's credibility. The guy's been under so much fire this past week. As the Journal correctly opines, now we know he's onto something. And we know that Mr. Nunes had to go to the White House to verify his information because the records containing Miss Rice's unmasking requests are held at the National Security Council. So now it's starting to come into focus. It also helps explain why Congressman Adam Schiff, Democrat from Area 51, who's the ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee, fell almost silent over the weekend after he examined the same documents that Nunes had seen.
Right. But he played it off as if, I can't disclose much information because...
Right, he made it a process story.
Right.
He made it a process story because the substance was not helpful to him. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, Susan Rice was on PBS with Judy Woodruff and talking about issues of unmasking. And here's what Susan Rice said. Here we go again.
I know nothing about this. I was surprised to see reports from Chairman Nunes on that count today.
I watched that interview
last
too.
To know.
And she looked nervous when she was BSing everybody during the Sunday morning talk shows after Chris Stevens and others were killed. She didn't look nervous, but something didn't sit well with me during that interview on PBS.
Well, she went on the issue of the sharing of information across intelligence agencies, because one of the other questions we have now is, now that we have it on pretty good authority that she was the one making these inquiries, engaged in this unmasking, was she also the leak? I mean...
Yeah, that's what we asked our guest yesterday. Was she the one responsible for leaking? I mean, why not? She's right there. She has access to the information. It would be so easy for her to do it.
California Democrat Representative Jackie Speier told the Daily Caller, well, I haven't seen the documents yet, but she, Rice, was the National Security Advisor. She had if anyone had the opportunity to unmask, it would be the National Security Advisor, because that person is giving advice to the president on issues around national security. Thank you for the redundancy. She went on to say, now, if in fact it was unmasked and if it was General Flynn, you have to understand the context in which it was unmasked. Was it something that was going to impact our national security, and so on and so forth? But so in terms of the unmasking, that's one question, and it's bizarre. It raises ethical concerns. It raises concerns about using the state by the party or regime in power against political opponents, which harkens back to Watergate. And then there's the separate issue of, was she also the leaker? Because that's the felony, the leaker of Flynn's name. And do we have other crimes that were committed? Those are open questions. Susan Rice, sharing of info, again, talking with Judy Woodruff, PBS, sharing of info across agencies.
In the last few weeks, the New York Times has reported that in the final days of the Obama administration, individuals went out of their way to spread information throughout the government about what they knew about intelligence, that the Russians had interfered in the election last year, and that there may have been a connection with Trump campaign officials. So that story has now been out there for several weeks. Could there be a connection here?
I'm not aware of any connection. I had read the New York Times story. I must say, Judy, as one of the most senior White House officials and the most senior responsible for national security, I found that report a bit perplexing. I was not aware of any orders given to disseminate that kind of information.
Well,
so I have no idea whether that was the case.
But if she was the leaker, why would she go on that show? You know, I mean, I think it'd be too risky.
The interesting thing too, I'm not aware of any orders given.
Right.
Well, what if you did it of your own volition and you weren't ordered to do it? You know, this is how politics works. In tight quarters, we see this with the Chicago Democrat crime families all the time. That's how the principal insulates himself from the subordinates. I don't need to give an order. You know what to do. You know what I want you to do.
Just by the look, you know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I want you to do.
They have their own language.
I don't have to say it, right? So the parsing of words is really important here with Rice and the whole gaggle of them. Bill and McHenry, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, Dan. You know, I'm old enough to have voted for Richard Nixon twice, and I'll tell you that my recollection of back in the early 70s was that it was Republicans that went to the president and told him he needed to step down. Well, the question right here, the umbrella question is, will Democrats step up and ask for accountability from their party?
That's a great question, and that has yet to be answered. Thanks, Bill.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm looking at Dan's Twitter account when he took a picture of John and Richie Daly there.
Doesn't John
yesterday.
look like a fat Joker, like with that big tuft of hair and that putty face?
Yeah, it's a look. Yeah. Looking at your weather
Maybe
for
the
today,
penguin.
it's going to be showers in spots early this morning. Otherwise, for the makeup game, the do-over for the Sox home opener, you'll have mostly cloudy skies at around 110 this afternoon, a high of 55 degrees. Then a little rain overnight, and tomorrow it's going to be increasingly windy with the periods of rain, cooler, a high of 44 degrees. Boo. Let's get into our alarm detection systems traffic center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. On the north side, Sheridan Road is closed right now between Foster and Bryn Mawr. There's police activity. Eden's fine. Kennedy inbound just a little slow from the River Road toll to Harlan. Got a 2-minute delay. The Eisenhower is a 2-minute delay from Manheim to Des Plaines Avenue. On Stevenson, delay start at Harlem, 42 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan is 19 minutes, 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, you've heard how Automated Systems excels at assisting companies with systems integration and FDA compliance. But they're also a staffing leader. They supply handpicked elite leadership, subject matter experts, and proven technical professionals in engineering, quality control, and FDA compliance to support the life sciences field in executing mission-critical projects. ASI provides highly specialized pros to deliver projects on time and budget. Don't pay a lot more to a big consulting firm, and don't trust the big temp agencies to supply the talent you need. Call Laz, my friend Laz at Automated Systems, when failure isn't an option. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life sciences companies, from big pharma to startups, and excel through a culture of excellence in execution. For a staffing, compliance, or automation evaluation, call Laz now at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or AutomatedSYS.com.
Christianity arose out of first-century Judaism. The earliest Jewish believers in Jerusalem, however, would have trouble recognizing modern, traditional Christianity as its offspring. In a new book entitled Reviving the Reformation, a Jewish believer peers backward to move biblical truth forward. Author Daniel Lang attempts to recover the real first-century Messianic faith that's been lost to the modern world. Reviving the Reformation explains why the man Yeshua, Jesus, satisfies the expectations of the messianic hope and describes the ideal relationship that should occur between Jews and Gentiles who seek out the same biblical God. It reestablishes the Torah as the instruction manual for righteous living and probes the doctrine of the Trinity. With biblical faith fading fast in Western culture, now is the time to restore the truth by reviving the Reformation. For information about this important new book, go to revivingthereformation.com. That's revivingthereformation.com.
The website, upstream-ideas.com, premium content that complements what we do on this show. Long-form interviews are against the current series. David Keene, former president of the American Conservative Union, and the NRA is the featured subject. The Man on the Street, Follow the Logic segments this week. UIC students try to follow the logic of higher ed funding in Illinois, and they do a pretty good job, much better than the Illinois General Assembly. Podcast of Illinois Rising, our program on Sundays at 3 p.m. on these airwaves that focuses on state policy and politics. Dollars and Cents, 60 Seconds of Sanity. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Mimi Järvi and the Chicago Symphony Orchestra return to Edmund Memorial Chapel at Wheaton College Friday, April 21st. The program opens with Arvo Pärt's Fratre, followed by Bartók's first violin concerto featuring CSO concertmaster Robert Chen. Closing the program is Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony. Don't miss the CSO at Edmund Memorial Chapel at Wheaton College Friday, April 21st. For tickets, visit cso.org.
Building owners and managers. Now is the perfect time of year for a service and maintenance agreement with Waukegan Roofing. Since 1914, Waukegan Roofing has been installing and maintaining roofs you can rely on for all of Chicagoland. Our experienced team of professional service technicians is the right solution for preserving the integrity of your new or existing roofing system for years to come. With your dedicated service technician and our multi-point inspection program, we cover all areas of your roof from early detection to preventative maintenance to repairs and everything in between. We're the licensed commercial roofing contractor you can rely on for all your roofing needs. Building owners and managers, now is the time to prepare your low-slope commercial roof for everything that Mother Nature throws at it this year. Call Waukegan Roofing today for your service and maintenance appointment at 877-ROOF-201. That's 877-ROOF-201. Or visit us online at waukeganroofing.com. Waukegan Roofing, installing roofs you can rely on since 1914.
Illinois licensee 104000761.
Hi, this is Jeff from Basement Flood Protector. Finishing a basement requires a tremendous amount of time and money, transforming concrete walls into living space better suited for children playing, friends watching football, or just hanging out. But how many of you made the investment in a sump pump system that ensures the protection of your new living space in the event of heavy rains, mechanical failures, and power outages? You went from concrete to carpet, maybe concrete to hardwood, and in the event of a flood, you're going to go from squeegee to replacing floors. However, by joining our network of 25,000 customers, you will enjoy the same peace of mind knowing your basement is safe regardless of weather conditions because of early warning mechanisms and simply having equipment that just works as expected. We are Basement Flood Protector. Protecting homes from flooding is all we do. I invite you to call today at 800-238-0822 or visit don'tflood.com to learn more and for no-nonsense pricing. That's 800-238-0822 or don'tflood.com. Use the call letters of this station for a 5% discount.
If you're missing teeth or even a single tooth, dental implants are a fantastic way to regain your confidence, your smile, your dental health. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You hear a lot of people screaming at you about dental implants. Get it done in a day, or we can treat everybody, or hundreds of thousands of implants. Look, successful implants don't come from an implant factory. What you don't hear talked about is skill, treatment, and installation. These are what make for successful lifelong implants. And that's why you need to see Dr. Norouzi at Fox River Periodontics. Dr. Norouzi is the recommended choice of dentists that don't do implants. You need the experience, skill, and honesty that 24 years of dental implants brings.
This is Dr. Norouzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants.
Call Fox River Periodontics, 630-232-7400, 630-232-7400, or just remember, implantsforme.com, implantsforme.com.
5:57. Let's get an update on the roads this morning. In the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. On the north side, Sheridan Road remains closed between Foster and Bryn Mawr due to police activity. Edens is fine. The Kennedy, 22 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 20. The Eisenhower, 32 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound still good at 29. Stevenson, 43 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound clear. Ryan is 22 minutes. 95th to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop 420. Eastbound Adams tollway slow from the Tri-State to the Kennedy. Traffic is a service of Westin Hotels and Resorts. At Westin Hotels and Resorts, they offer running gear to their guests. Why? It's not to help you race to catch your flight. It's you can pack less and work out more while on the road, because they know what a runaround travel can be. Westin Workout Gear Lending. Westin, let's rise. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues after a full update from Fox News. But first, your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
After a shower in spots, it turns out to be mostly cloudy today with a high 57. Overcast night, little late night rain, low 39. Windy tomorrow, wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour with periods of rain, high 43, and a low tomorrow night of 36. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
The news is a service of the Chicago Office of Emergency Management and Communications, paid for by a FEMA grant. Help keep Chicago safe. Report suspicious activity. If you see something, say something by calling 855-777-8274. 5:58, here are the stories we're following this morning on AM 560, The Answer. 2 teens face charges in the gang rape of a 15-year-old Chicago girl, streamed live over Facebook last month. One man is dead following a crash involving an unmarked Chicago police squad car at South Michigan Avenue last night in East 105th. Authorities investigating after 2 men were stabbed in northwest suburban Crystal Lake. Both victims remain hospitalized in unknown conditions. 5 are hospitalized following a crash on the Dan Ryan on Chicago's south side. 1 victim in serious to critical condition, according to police. Today is Election Day, but a distinct lack of interest in running for local office is pockmarking ballots across the area. New Daily Herald report is coming up in our news in our next hour. Opening day for the White Sox pushed back because of rain to today. Cubs and Cardinals continue their series. And outside right now, 47 degrees at O'Hare. WIND Chicago News Time, 6.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Was it a suicide bombing on that Russian subway train? That's a possibility being investigated as the number killed rose this morning. Fox's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
Dave, Russian investigators saying they believe the attack in St. Petersburg was a suicide bombing, also saying they think they've identified the bomber. There's word this morning from Kyrgyzstan, the former Soviet republic. The Kyrgyz foreign minister saying the attacker was a Russian-born Kyrgyz citizen, but there's no word on a motive yet or if the suspect was acting alone. The number killed in the bombing has been revised up to 14. The subway network has reopened this morning. Dave?
Simon, a suspected chemical attack has hit a Syrian town. A British-based monitoring group claims at least 58 people are dead, many more injured. Other activists released footage of victims, including a little girl on a ventilator foaming at the mouth. Republican Senator Rand Paul says maybe the smoking gun to President Trump's claims he was under Obama-era surveillance, and Paul wants Susan Rice to testify. Rice, the former national security advisor, reportedly unmasked the identities of Trump campaign officials caught up in incidental surveillance. They were not the target of for months. Sources tell Fox the Republican House Intel Committee Chairman Devin Nunes knew about her involvement, but Rice told PBS last month.
I know nothing about this. I was surprised to see reports from Chairman Nunes on that count.
Democrats have called all this a smokescreen in the probe into any Trump ties to Russian interference in the campaign. Vice President Pence met last night with House conservatives who derailed the Republican bill to replace Obamacare. He's offering revisions to help get that bill on track. They're champions in Chapel Hill. North Carolina fans held a big party after the Tar Heels won the NCAA basketball title. North Carolina beat Gonzaga a year after losing in the championship game on a last-second shot. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Hey guys, your prostate should be the last thing on your mind, but the fact is, the older you get, the more likely you'll have prostate problems, which can affect your everyday life. That's where Prostate Complete by Real Health comes in. Prostate Complete is the result of 20 years of experience as a leader in men's health. The powerful formula in Prostate Complete supports natural prostate function and reduced urinary urges for a better quality of life. Available at Walmart. Visit prostate1perday.com for special offers. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Writing job descriptions, sifting through resumes, setting up interviews. Hiring's hard, but Indeed.com makes it easier. Post your job, manage candidates, schedule interviews, all on Indeed. And since independent research shows that Indeed delivers 5 times more hires than any other job site, easy works. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Looks like some cable and phone companies are trying to sell home security. But when a burglar sees one of their signs in the front yard, what does it say? Oh, wow, this home has 599 channels. Or, oh, these guys have high-speed internet. But the ADT sign, it says, this family trusts the company whose name means security. So beat it. It's no wonder 5 times more people choose ADT to protect their homes.
Learn more at ADT.com and to see licensing and terms and conditions.
This hourly segment is sponsored by the Art House Gallery. Sell your gold, diamonds, jewelry, watches, and more. Call 847-926-0700.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Picking up on our discussion last hour of Susan Rice and the story that broke by Eli Lake over at Bloomberg about former National Security Advisor Susan Rice requesting the identities of U.S. persons in raw intelligence reports on dozens of occasions that connect to the Donald Trump transition and campaign and that had nothing to do with the FBI investigation into ties between Russia and the Trump campaign. Unmasking. It certainly smacks of using the apparatus of the state to surveil political opponents for the purpose of politics, not national security. Charles Krauthammer weighing in on this yesterday.
Clearly, there was some improprieties in the gathering of information about the Trump people. There probably was a felony committed in the leaking of the information about General Flynn. The story today about Susan Rice is, well, if she did order, or if she did allow herself to go in and then to unmask all these people, the question is this: was it in pursuit of national security interests, in which case it's proper, or was it not, in which case it's improper, possibly illegal?
So,
and that's what I want to know. Was it illegal?
Well,
or was she within her right to do this?
Well, this is why more questions need to be asked, and more questions need to be, and those questions need to be answered by Susan Rice. Jim Sciutto, CNN, trying to do the bidding of the Obama regime, and Miss Rice yesterday, reporting yesterday that he spoke to someone close to Rice.
Her friends. Yeah.
On these allegations, and reported, quote, "The idea that Ambassador Rice improperly sought the identities of Americans is false. There's nothing unusual about making these requests when serving as a senior national security official, whether Democrat or Republican, except according to Eli Lake's reporting and also sources the Wall Street Journal references, unnamed, admittedly, there is something very unusual about what's happening here. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined again by our friend and former United States Attorney General Alberto Gonzales, who now is the Dean of the Belmont University School of Law down in Tennessee. General Gonzales, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
So what is your spidey sense telling you about the report from Eli Lake and the associated questions that it raises?
I don't know if I should be relying upon my spidey sense. But listen, it's I think it's interesting. There is so much we don't know, however. I mean, there may be perfectly legitimate reasons, as Mr. Krauthammer indicated in his reporting. There may be perfectly legitimate reasons for Susan Rice, who is an National advisor. She's reading these intel reports to want to know why someone in Russia is communicating with someone and mentioning an American's name and wanting to know what's going on here. That is her job. Is to know how Russia, for example, is going to be responding to sanctions by the Obama administration. So there may be perfectly legitimate reasons why, as an National advisor, she would want those names unmasked. Now, of course, what happens after that, I think it raises a much more serious question, were those names then leaked to the press? Were they disseminated in a way that was improper? So there's still a lot of information that we just simply don't know. But it's certainly true that everything here may be perfectly okay, but yet again, we don't know what the motivation was behind the request by Susan Rice, if in fact she made the request. And by the way, there are laws that are in place. You can't simply say, I want this information unmasked, and there not be a record of it. There should be a record of it somewhere. And so hopefully we'll get to the bottom of what actually happened here.
Now, give us some insight into how this would work, because if you've got her making these requests, at the same time you have an FBI investigation into the Trump campaign and questions about ties to Russia and all of this, Russian collusion. Would there be information sharing, or would they be operating? Would NSA be operating in a silo vis-a-vis the FBI?
Yeah, totally separate. It would be totally separate. Susan Rice, let's assume that the motivation is the appropriate one here, that she simply is doing her job as an National advisor. She is requesting this information in the normal course of business. This happens all the time. And separate from that is the FBI doing its investigation about possible Russian influence, possible collusion with the Trump administration. Again, no evidence of that, but yes, those would be operating on totally separate tracks.
So, if you are unmasking somebody, what's the process like? Do you have to file any paperwork? Do you have to let other people know that you're unmasking somebody?
Yeah, you have to get permission to do that, and there are a certain limited number of people that can grant that permission, and then that when that happens, that is logged into a registry. So again, very careful records are supposed to be kept of this kind of activity, and it, I don't want to say it's routine. It happens, yes. I guess it is proper to say it's somewhat routine, because in order to do your job, you sometimes need to have that kind of information. But because it's important that you don't want to publicize something that may impact someone's reputation, there are limits in terms of what you can do with that information once you get it. And when someone makes a request to unmask and that request is granted, that there is a registry that keeps a record of all that. So again, it's all supposed to be detailed. Everyone's supposed to understand what the rules are in place in order to prevent something like, something political from happening, or using this information for personal gain or political gain. So, again, so much we don't know here about the motivation and exactly what happened, who asked for what, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, and this is why the questioning when both Comey and Mike Rogers were before the House Intel Committee, they were the question on this topic of, well, how many people have the authority to pursue unmasking, because they were trying to get to this matter of the leaking of Flynn's name. What's the universe we're talking about people who would be able to authorize the unmasking or gain authorization, would have access to that information, so you can kind of try and zero in on who the potential suspects are. And so it seems to me that at minimum, Susan Rice is a suspect with respect to the leaking of General Flynn's name, the one crime that we know has been committed.
Well, she would certainly have again, think about it, she's a National advisor. And so you would certainly expect that someone like in her position would have the authority to request that a name be unmasked so that she can do her job. Hopefully that's the motivation for what may have happened here, to the extent that it was Susan Rice that asked that these names be unmasked. Again, I can't confirm that. That's just what the reporting is saying.
But is there a possibility she might have taken it one step further and leaked the information? And that is
no
a crime.
question about yes, that would be illegal. and that would be totally inappropriate. And of course, she may have shared that information with someone that as part of her job, and that person may have leaked the information. That also would be unlawful. So yes, we just there's so much here that we just don't know.
I want to switch gears. I got to get you, as a former United States Attorney General, to weigh in on the nomination of Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court. It's going to be taken up. It's being taken up this week. Senate Majority Leader McConnell saying they will vote on Friday, and they will confirm him, and they will apparently have to exercise the nuclear option because Democrats have the votes to filibuster. And the quality of the arguments that opponents of Gorsuch are making, most interestingly, it seems that they've gone from the seat was stolen from Merrick Garland to it traditionally requires 60 votes. And now they're following an argument that's been laid out by Lawrence Tribe of sorts. Lawrence Tribe, of course, the liberal Harvard law professor, who has described Gorsuch as such. Gorsuch is a brilliant, terrific guy who would do the court's work with distinction. That's Larry Tribe on Gorsuch. And then Tribe says, hold the phone. As more emerges regarding Donald Trump's theft of the presidency, it gets clearer that we mustn't keep calling him POTUS. He's a usurper. So now the argument is because Donald Trump is not a legitimate president, Neil Gorsuch can therefore, by some kind of transitive property, not be a legitimate nominee for the Supreme Court. What's your take on all the swirl around Gorsuch?
Well, that's just ridiculous, first of all, and it certainly would not be consistent with the constitutional framework envisioned by our framers. Listen, President Trump was elected by the people. He made a nomination. That nomination is pending before the Senate, and if Senator McConnell and Senator Grassley to be believed, Neil Gorsuch will be confirmed to the United States Supreme Court this week. And irrespective of how you may feel about the president, I happen to know Neil. He worked for me when I was the Attorney General. He's a wonderful individual, extremely bright, extremely talented, and I think he'll do a great job on the Supreme Court. And, it's really a shame that it's come to this. I am on record in saying that I think that Merrick Garland was treated unfairly and that the Senate, the Republicans should have given him a vote, at least a hearing. And if they didn't like it, if they were afraid about if they wanted to keep that seat open for the next president, they could have voted him down. But they didn't do that. But we're past that now. And so we have a vacancy that's been there for a year. We need to fill it on behalf of the American people. And I think we've got a nominee here who's qualified and should be confirmed by the Senate this week.
And someone who respects and knows Neil Gorsuch, is it hard for you to watch Democrats they're trying so hard to find something bad about him, but he's a reputable man, a reputable judge. And are you upset that it's come to this?
Well, listen, this is part of the process, and this has been this way for some time in terms of this is a lifetime appointment. It's a very important appointment. There should be extreme due diligence paid with respect to any nominee to the U.S. Supreme Court. But some of the things that have been said about Neil Gorsuch just are fundamentally untrue. And like many things in Washington, I think this process has become politicized, and that's very, very unfortunate because this is a very good man, and I know he'll do a tremendous job on the court.
As somebody who went through a Senate confirmation proceeding yourself and in the legal arena, so where senators do what they always do is trying to figure out, what your philosophy on the law is, how you view controversial cases in the Supreme Court's jurisprudence, and
if you finished your first grade homework.
Yes, right. That's the full proctological exam. But what is your take on what the confirmation hearings have become? Kind of these show trials with the opportunity for senators to pontificate for a few minutes to check a box, and then you get to the kind of raw vote counting and political maneuvering that you could have done without anybody ever asking anybody a question.
Well, it's interesting. Gorsuch testified that his boss, Byron White, his confirmation hearing lasted 90 minutes.
Right.
And he smoked the entire time during the hearing. So things have changed. And it may be part of the reason it's changed is because now there is so much more at stake. I think people look at Congress and the ineptitude and the gridlock that occurs in Congress, and that so little is done, and people are frustrated. And so they look to the courts to maybe get things done, a place where policy can be made. And I think perhaps that's one of the reasons why this has become the new battleground in terms of how you shape policy, how you drive policy. And, of course, that's not what the framers intended. The courts are not there to develop policy or to shape policy. They're there to simply interpret the laws passed by Congress and to interpret the Constitution. But I think part of the reason why this has become so politicized is because this is sort of the new battleground of where policy is going to be driven forward.
He is Alberto Gonzales, former United States Attorney General, now the Dean of the Belmont University School of Law. General Gonzales, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Coming up, our I can't even say it. DNA test results are in. It's not what you think. But first, let's go into the weather department, and we're going to have showers in spots early this morning, otherwise mostly cloudy by this afternoon for the do-over of the Sox season opener. A high of 55 degrees. Overcast with a little rain tonight, and then tomorrow increasingly windy with some rain on and off. It will be cooler, a high only in the low 40s. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's the big boss, Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. Too bad we couldn't do over last year's White Sox season. Right now on the roads, traffic's building. The Edens now has mild delays in both directions. Inbound slow starting around 2E, 20 minutes Lake Cote to Montrose. Outbound 20. The Kennedy, 22 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound still fine at 20. The Eisenhower, 38 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 30. The Stevenson is 44 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound clear. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State heavy from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Eastbound Adams Tollway really coming to a standstill with the traffic now right between the Tri-State and the River Road Toll. Very heavy there near O'Hare. The other tollways are good. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, if you're looking to secure financing on a new home or want to refinance your existing mortgage, then you need to call David Hochberg, Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. According to creditcard.com, American consumers are carrying the same level of credit card debt as they did in 2008 before the market collapsed, which is very, very scary. Credit card holders in Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan are carrying over $33K worth of debt on their credit cards. This equates to a monthly payment of approximately $1,320 a month, which is the equivalent of a payment of a $250K mortgage. The good news is home values have rebounded and are steadily increasing, so now's an excellent time to call David at 312-751-1333 to use your home's equity to eliminate your stress, pay off credit card debt, and lower your monthly payments. It's that easy. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call David now, 312-751-1333, or visit am560david.com. David helped me and thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358 NMLS 19186.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Bob Ament, a founding partner of the law firm of Dassman & Ament and longtime personal customer of Signature Bank. Our firm recently left one of the larger banks to bank with Signature Bank, and it's been a refreshing change. With Signature Bank, we've been able to tailor banking solutions that fit the specific needs of our firm. Beyond that, Signature Bank is responsive, efficient, and timely in meeting those needs. If I have a request, I pick up the phone and talk to Mick O'Rourke, not someone at a phone bank thousands of miles away. Dassman & Ament needed more than what the larger banks offer, and we found that with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, all right. It is Equal Pay Day today. It's also Election Day. Polls are open. Polls open at 6 a.m. Yes, it's Election Day today.
Yes, it's election. Wake up.
So
who are you voting for, and when are you voting? Did you make plans?
If you don't vote today, or if you vote and you don't vote for conservative reform candidates at the local level, if you don't weigh in on your local school referendum, if you have one, and there are many, then you're essentially saying, just understand what you're saying. You're saying, I don't care about my property taxes, and therefore I don't care about my home value.
Off with their heads.
Well,
you know?
No, I'm just telling you what you're saying when you behave as in one of the two ways that I'm describing.
So
But,
what are some of the hottest races? I know the mayor of... Are we going to go break? Are we breaking this down later in the brackets?
Yeah, we'll get to that. I want it's Equal Pay Day, which is like April Fool's Day. It's a joke because it's something that doesn't exist, so it's a fraud. So like when you commit a fraud on April Fool's Day, you have a joke with somebody. That's like making the equal pay argument. It's a canard. It is
motivated by the left.
It is leftist shibboleth. That's what it is. And when you actually do the research, like our friend Mark Perry, University of Michigan economist, has done, and you account for all of the variables that go into someone's work life, the disparity disappears. So just FYI. But so it is Equal Pay Day. I wanted you to
Well, where's my card?
Well, it's a false day,
Okay.
so I don't do that.
So there's
I only
no
do it
Hallmark card
for
for this?
genuine days like your birthday, where we all celebrate your birth.
Right. You're all over. This is your dad's birthday, too. It's always about Larry. Never about me.
I'm so thoughtful. So then I can forget both birthdays.
Exactly.
It's just kind of economies of scale on it. But I wanted you to get your Bill O'Reilly rant off your chest so that we can get that going here.
Okay,
and have you settle down.
Another
You're so
woman has
ornery.
come forward. Her name is Wendy Walsh, Dr. Wendy Walsh. She was on his program a few times as a contributor, and she met him one night in a hotel bar, and she wanted to know how she could advance her career, how she could be a permanent guest on his show. And they had a few drinks, and he said, well, let's go up to my hotel room.
And that's where Jesse Waters is. And then I'll...
Stop it. And she said no, and since that day, she was not on the show ever again, and she believes it's because she turned down his sexual advances.
So what she told me off the record were a lot of stories of other women who are under gag orders, who cannot talk. They have been silenced. And they had to take that money because they were facing potential economic ruin. And I felt like my story was so mild that I had to be the voice for them because nobody can buy my voice. My voice is not for sale. My truth is not for sale. And more importantly, I have 2 daughters. Don't we all want to make the workplace a great place for our daughters? And I'm doing it for them. You need to learn, like all men need to learn, that a workplace is not a mating marketplace.
Yeah,
like the rest of us.
Watch yourself.
No, all men don't need to learn that, Miss Walsh.
Well,
but
maybe-
that's sort of a tell.
So
That's sort of a tell.
Well, she's not asking. No, she's not suing him. She's not asking for any money. She just wanted her story to be told, and that she's supporting the other women who claim that they have been sexually harassed by Bill O'Reilly, and most of them he has settled with.
Well, this is the big story. There's a story in the New York Times over the weekend about a handful of sexual harassment suits that Fox has settled on behalf of Bill O'Reilly for upwards of $13 million over the last decade.
And it should be said that Bill O'Reilly has paid some of that money out himself. And then the Fox has done the rest. But knowing this, they still re-signed him to a new contract.
Well, so here's the...
So what does that say? That it's okay to sexually harass people at Fox News? I mean, what kind of environment is that?
Well, here's
people.
the
women, I should say.
So in response to the New York Times story, you've had 2 brands pull ads from the O'Reilly factor, Mercedes and Lexus. The New York Times story essentially suggested that because Bill O'Reilly generates ratings, which generate a lot of revenue, he's somewhat untouchable. He makes like $18 million a year. Again, New York Times reporting, and his show throws off something like $180 million a year in revenue for Fox. So, or maybe that was over a 2-year period. But anyway, you're talking about.
Well, he's the big money maker.
You're talking about the show throws off 9 figures, and so this is why he's insulated from what appears to be his boorish behavior. Should Bill O'Reilly meet the same fate as Roger Ailes? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
I mean, if they fire Roger Ailes or make him step down, why would they keep Bill O'Reilly? And I know it's because he's the big money maker. He's the face of Fox, but it does not help attract women to the Republican Party when you know that women at Fox are being sexually harassed, and more are coming forward every day.
Yeah.
And then the ones that do come, like Gretchen Carlson, what's going to happen to her? I loved watching her show. I loved watching Gretchen. She's not.
Well, that's not a Bill
she won't-
O'Reilly issue.
No, she's a Roger Ailes accuser, and she's been paid $20 million, but I don't know if she'll be back on the air because there's always a stigma attached with somebody who files a sexual harassment case. And the only one that's going to survive is our girl, Megyn Kelly, that I see on this list of all these accusers.
Well,
and people who have settled.
So here's the thing: I don't condone boorish behavior, no matter who is committing it, and so I don't have any particular affinity for Bill O'Reilly. I don't really like him.
I don't like him
frankly,
either.
and I do think he is a bit of a lout from what I know, and what I know largely comes from someone that I dated.
Who you had relations with.
Would you stop? What is wrong with you? Mom, you're embarrassing me in front of my friends.
Well, yeah, Juliet Huddy, and she was paid $1.6 million.
And this goes back. This is a long time ago now. And so I was told things about certain people at Fox by her a long time ago, and I'm not going to get into it, and she can't get into it because she's, it's a non-disclosure agreement as a condition of the settlement. So I believe that Bill O'Reilly has acted badly. I mean, we know that he's acted badly because we have voicemails of him.
Inappropriate phone calls.
Right. Okay, let me finish the thought. I know you're hyped up on this.
Mad.
But his former producer, who was the biggest recipient of a settlement, $9 million, he would leave these lascivious messages on her answering machine and so forth. So, I always look at Bill O'Reilly and I see Inside Edition.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you,
Really?
I see a kind of a, like a.
I see the biggest ego in the world.
I also don't see like a particularly principled conservative. I see kind of, I don't know, kind of somebody that's kind of, gruff and.
He's a big bully.
And he does that kind of tough guy thing, but there's no consistency to it. It's all emotive, and this is why there's inconsistency. So I've just never been a particularly big fan. I don't really ever watch a show unless there's going to be an interesting subject on, like Dennis Miller's on or something.
Fox should do the right thing and get him off the air.
Well, that's a Fox decision, but I agree with you that, look, if you're going to set a standard of conduct, whether that person is costing you millions of dollars that they wouldn't otherwise be costing you, even though they're generating much more, that's not the standard. The standard shouldn't be just return. It should be a certain corporate ethos, right?
Right.
So I'm.
Well, at the very least, his wife should leave him.
Well,
come on. You think he's faithful to his wife? Maybe he should go to dinner with the Pences.
You're all over the place. You should keep it right here where you've got the strongest argument and not venture into all of these tangents where you lose the argument. The argument is Bill O'Reilly's improper conduct at Fox. And if there are consequences that should be attached to that, if not that legal, there's nobody's going to force Fox to fire him, but should he be removed from the air as somebody that is tarnishing the brand of Fox?
I'm going to go buy a Lexus now.
I think it's a legitimate question. Verlin on the South Side.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
This is the reason why Mike Pence have a self-rule. He has a self-appointed rule on himself not to meet with women. Because whether you're innocent or guilty, you can get caught up in one of these situations and end up in the Cosby zone, the Herman Cain zone. It's always a threat looming over your head where you can get caught in a compromising situation. That's the one reason why I vote for Mike Pence to be Mike Pence to be the next president of the United States because he's too damn smart.
There you go. Thanks for the call, Verlin. I mean, I do the same thing. I don't meet with women, but for me, it's because they won't meet with me. So it's a little bit different than the Pence situation.
Men, we don't know what we did.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
The secret to how the rich keep getting richer is by passing down their wealth, generation to generation. If you do the same thing, you'll be leaving a legacy and be doing one of the most important things possible for the people you love. The ugly truth is, you don't have an estate plan. Everything you own, including your house, cars, investments, everything could be tied up in courts for a year or longer. It could cost your estate tens of thousands of dollars in probate and legal fees, even double government taxation. You can avoid this painful, costly mistake by contacting Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group. Tom hosts the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard Saturday mornings at 9 on AM 560, and has been a featured expert on Fox Business, Fortune, and Money Magazine. Right now, Alpha Wealth Group is offering you a free estate planning kit if you call 630-873-6326. That's 630-873-6326. 630-873-6326. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc. You've heard of living trusts and how they can help protect your assets, but you may not know if a living trust is right for you. Or maybe you have questions about creating your own living trust. The fact is, almost everyone can benefit from a living trust, which can protect your assets from the court system and your loved ones from unnecessary expense and inconvenience. Learn more at a free seminar Thursday, April 6th. Estate planning attorney Robert Zapolis will explain how to create your own living trust, estate planning under the new tax laws, why a will does not avoid probate, and more. Have your estate planning and living trust questions answered absolutely free. Don't miss this important seminar Thursday, April 6th at 6:30 p.m. at Papa Joe's Restaurant, 145th and LaGrange Road in Orland Park. The seminar is free and a complimentary dinner is served, but you must make a reservation now. Call 708-478-1400. Call 708-478-1400. Again, 708-478-1400.
AM 560, The Answer.
Text from 708. Fox is going to pull O'Reilly. LOL. That's funny. Never going to happen. Didn't say whether it was going to happen or not. We were asking the question, should it happen? Do you understand the difference? There's nothing funny about Bill O'Reilly's conduct.
No. And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Election Day, we'll preview some local races and ask you if you're going to participate, and if you are, why, at 6:36.
And later, DNA test results are in. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, Russian news agencies this morning are saying the St. Petersburg subway station shut down after a bomb threat have reopened this morning. At least 4 stations were closed Tuesday after a call about a possible bomb. Russian news agency quoting the subway administrator there that full service is available on all lines, and all lines have been restored following yesterday's bombing that killed 14. Headed toward a partisan showdown over Senate rules, Republicans and Democrats are set to open floor debate on whether to confirm President Donald Trump's pick for the Supreme Court, Judge Neil Gorsuch. Mercedes-Benz, the next automaker taking up the challenge of driverless cars, working with automotive supplier Bosch to get autonomous vehicles on the road by the next decade. The company that makes the EpiPen is the target of a class action racketeering lawsuit. CNBC is reporting this morning the suit accuses Mylan of overcharging patients in an illegal scheme to boost sales. One man is dead following a crash overnight involving an unmarked Chicago police squad car responding to a report of shots fired. That happened while driving on South Michigan Avenue last night near 105th. Voters throughout the Chicago suburbs heading to the polls today. Races for mayor in Aurora, Bolingbrook, Batavia, Orland Park, and Evanston. Seats are also up for grabs in New Trier Township, Fox Valley Park District, and a big race in Hinsdale High School District 86. In Cook County alone in the suburbs, nearly 2,600 candidates are vying in over 1,000 potential contests. White Sox are pushing back opening day to this afternoon after yesterday's rainout. Cubs and Cardinals continue their season-opening 3-game set tonight in St. Louis. Bulls battling the Knicks tonight, and the Blackhawks will battle the Avalanche in Colorado. The News is a service of Merchants. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee for the tires, oil, service, and repairs. Merchants Tire and Auto Service Center. That's all you need. 6:36 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Metra's 95% on-time dependability helps you get to work on time, no matter what's happening on the roads. Find the station nearest you at metrorail.com.
How would you like to lose 10, 15, even 25 pounds in the next 30 days? Well, I'm about to tell you how you can do it for free right now. You've probably heard of Beachbody or seen their workout DVDs on TV like P90X, Insanity, and 21 Day Fix. Well, they just launched a beta trial of their new online video service called Beachbody On Demand, and they're inviting you to use it for free for 30 days. Now, here's the catch. In return, all they want is for you to let them know what you think of their new on-demand service so they can make it the best fitness and weight loss site ever created. Just text the word STREAM to 303030, and you can do 30 days of P90X, Insanity, Brazil Butt Lift, or one of 500 other Beachbody workouts for free. And that means you can lose 10, 20, even 30 pounds without paying a dime. Just text STREAM to 303030. That's STREAM to 303030 to get started for free right now.
Message and data rates may apply. Membership fees apply after 30-day free trial. Cancel anytime.
Building owners, are you experiencing problems with your flat roof? Do you know where you're at in the life cycle of your roof? Install, repair, renew, or replace. One of the largest investments you will make to protect your building and its contents is the roof system on your building. So trust that investment to a proven industry leader. Trust it to Waukegan Roofing. Waukegan Roofing is a commercial and industrial low-slope roofing contractor installing roofs you can rely on since 1914. We install, service, and maintain all types of commercial and industrial low-slope roof systems for the Chicago area. We've installed millions of square feet of quality roofing systems, protecting buildings and their valuable contents for more than 100 years. So wherever you are in the life cycle of your roof, Waukegan Roofing is prepared to help you manage each stage with professional service and technical expertise. Call us today to schedule an appointment at 877-ROOF-201. That's 877-ROOF-201. Or visit us online at waukeganroofing.com. Waukegan Roofing, installing roofs you can rely on since 1914.
Illinois licensee 104000761.
638. Let's get a quick check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Eastbound Adams Tollway jam for the Tri-State onto the Kennedy, where those delays continue to Lawrence. It's now 40 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, outbound 24. Eden's 25 minutes, Lake Cook to the junction, outbound 21. Ike 53 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 33. Stevenson 55 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. The Ryan 27, 95th to downtown. Traffic service of Staples. HP Savings Month at Staples means big savings on great HP products all month long. Now buy one, get one HP ink and get the second at 40% off and experience the outstanding print quality of HP ink. Ends 4/8, restrictions applies. Staples.com/HP Month. Staples, make more happen. It's traffic. AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Shower in spots this morning, otherwise mostly cloudy and 55. Currently 47 officially at O'Hare. Next news at 7. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour radio show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, it is Election Day. Are you voting? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-368, turnkey.pro text line. Are you going to be the 1 in 6 in your community who are going to actually turn out for a municipal election, assuming you have one? I mean, in Chicago, we don't.
No.
We don't.
But
even
that doesn't
we
mean
don't
we
have
don't care.
We don't have elections at all in Chicago.
No, it's always the Democrats.
Yeah, there's
I
no.
love the ward bosses who sit out there like, hey, Jacobson, you're going to vote Democratic, huh? I said, it's none of your business how I'm voting. Well, we used to, at one point in
That's
time.
a great impersonation of a ward healer, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But at one point in time, we never, I'll never forget the year. It was during a primary. We didn't even have Republican ballots at our precinct.
There's no, I mean,
and
right.
then, so I had to wait for them to go bring some over.
I'll tell you what, though. There's
So
going to be an
corrupt.
opportunity in 2019, I think.
You think?
There's going to be an opportunity in 2019 to run a center-right candidate against Tiny Dancer, because I don't think you're going to I think it'll be, without that, sort of a rerun of 2015 where you've got really third-tier candidates running against this little ballerina crank that we've got. So I think there'll be an opportunity. We'll see if center-right forces can get their act together. But in terms of today...
Yeah, what are the big elections?
Well,
every election's important, I understand.
I mean, if you care about your home value. I mean, if you don't, no problem. Don't pay. Turn off the radio. Don't pay any attention to any of this if you don't care about your home value. I mean, I hate my money. I despise my quality of life. I want it to worsen. That's why I'm not voting today. That's what you're saying. Now think about this. Let me give you an example. I mentioned this briefly yesterday, but let's get into a little bit more detail. Boss Crotty of Bremen Township. She doesn't wear the Boss Hog white suit, drive around in the Cadillac, but she might as well. Maggie Crotty has really enjoyed her time in government in this state. She was a state senator for a long time, way too long. Crotty, now 68, collects 3 paychecks, government paychecks, totaling $123,000 a year, 2 government pensions for her time on Cook County's payroll, and her 16 years in the Illinois legislature, plus her salary as the supervisor of Bremen Township, which is up today, and where she has been since 2005. She's got the typical thing, bunch of family members on the payroll, her son's mother-in-law, her her longtime campaign manager, plus his younger brother, so, your political ops as well. They're all on the payroll. And what's been happening in Bremen Township? Well, we did this when we let you in on this when we did the study of South and Southwest Cook County. Home values in Bremen Township have fallen anywhere between 34 and 59% in real terms over the last decade. They fell nearly 60% in Crestwood and Markham, 58% in Robbins, 40% in Midlothian, 37% in Oak Forest, 34% in Tinley Park. In the next 8 years, if they're like the past, homeowners will pay between 73 and 209% of their median home value in property taxes. You'll pay 73 to 209% of your home value, the median home value, over 16 years if you continue to enjoy the status quo in Bremen Township. In Crotty's hometown of Oak Forest, the median home price will be $119,000. The median property taxpayer will have paid $109,000 in property taxes from 2007 to 2023, projecting out. We care about that? 312-642-5600, turnkey.priceline. Or tell me why you don't. I mean, revolt or bolt. If you're just out the door, okay, then I understand it. If you're staying and you have any interest in the largest investment you're going to make in your life, then I'd love to hear a rationale for non-participation.
And who's running for, who do you want to win this race?
Not Maggie Crotty.
Well, not, yeah.
Real simple. We won't get into a bunch of names that you probably haven't heard of or don't remember or can't remember. It's real simple. It's like Orland Park. Not Dan McLaughlin. Not Maggie Crotty in Bremen Township. The people that have been there, the men and women of always in Illinois who are part of the thieving class. But they got a winning smile and their third cousin, and so that's why you vote for them. Wake up. Here, this is interesting, too, about Crotty in particular. In 2012, Crotty paid $182,000 for a home in a new development called Palm Valley, 2 blocks from a golf course in Goodyear, Arizona.
Oh.
Yeah, it's nice.
Nice. I bet their property taxes are low. Oh, yes, they are.
And when I say she paid for it, we paid for it, of course, because it's because of government largesse that she could buy this home in Palm Valley. They don't have a township government at all in Palm Valley, in Goodyear, Arizona, in Palm Valley. How about that? They don't have a Maggie Crotty.
Oh, no.
In Palm Valley, in Goodyear, Arizona. The development's Palm Valley, the town Goodyear, Arizona. They don't have a Maggie Crotty there. And her home there now, 2012, $182,000.
Oh, let me guess. Can I guess?
I
bet it's worth $250,000.
$284,000.
Oh,
5 years later, up 56%. Her property taxes there on a $284,000 home.
Let me get $1,200.
$2,570.
Not bad.
Well, let's see. Let's do some quick back of the envelope math.
You told me there'd be no math involved, Dan.
That's less than 1% of home value. You know what that a $284,000 home in Markham would be? The property tax bill. Markham, not exactly
11,000.
Not exactly a new development.
No,
2
Markham's
blocks from a
rough.
golf course. That
much?
same home in Markham, $17,600.
Wow, I was 6,000 off. 17,000?
8 times, almost, the property taxes Crotty is paying on her home in Arizona that we bought for her. Here's another one, another race. Chicago Ridge. Don't care about these races, local races. Oh, I don't know. But I want to get rid of Madigan. Oh, and I want to get rid of Durbin. Oh, do you? Well, Durbin's endorsed McLaughlin in Orland Park. Roger Clare in
Roger.
Roger Clare in Bolingbrook.
Bolingbrook. Yep, we saw him. He was nice to see him at our event.
New York Times piece on him.
The New York Times did a piece on Roger.
Yeah, because he's pro-Trump and he's under assault because the whole rationale of his opponent's campaign is that Roger Clare supported Trump. So he's under assault for supporting Trump, and he's got J.B. Pritzker coming in to support his candidate. His
Jan
opponent.
Schakowsky,
His opponent. You've got Daniel Biss. You've got all the Democrats converging to support Roger Clare's opponent because he's supported Donald Trump.
Yeah, I got an email blast from Jan Schakowsky on that.
On the outside, outsiders coming in that that run this state, and you don't connect the dots. Here's another one: Chicago Ridge, little Chicago Ridge.
Let me see. I see Chicago Ridge.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you a story about a couple of more Madigan knuckleheads that are making out like bandits on your dime. These are the two Moody brothers, Ed and Fred. I mean, honestly. One is a Cook County commissioner now. You've got they got Cook County patronage jobs at the age of 25. They've been Madigan lackeys for 2.5 decades. Now they're working to install their people in Chicago Ridge and take out the incumbent mayor, Chuck Tokar, because this is what Madigan does, get involved in local races to create local fiefdoms where he can dispense political patronage. So Ed and Fred are the two goons that have descended on Chicago Ridge to support this Madigan slate of candidates to try and take over Chicago Ridge so they can fleece Chicago Ridge taxpayers just as Ed and Fred fleece Cook County taxpayers and just as Madigan fleeces Illinois taxpayers. So that's in Chicago Ridge. Ed and Fred Moody.
Okay.
Oh, John in Oak Forest, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, I got Maggie Crotty to talk to me during a parade that she was walking in Oak Forest. And after I laid my concerns upon her, she just looked at me and she goes, that's tough, and if you don't like it, you just run for office. And she walked away.
There you go. Thanks for the
That
call.
was that.
Thanks for the call, John. Maybe you should move to Goodyear, Arizona, where you can haunt Maggie Crotty the rest of her days. Karen in Oak Forest.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I'd also like to pipe in on this election. Maggie has, lived here forever, and I've lived here as well since I was in 5th grade. I'm 55 years old. Don Seebeck, who has run, as far as I know, all the years that I've been here, the Bremen Youth Center, which he has given to this community over and over and time again. The man has never been in politics, but he feels no other way to get the proper funding that has been cut by Maggie Crotty over the years, and this year cut it tremendously and sent it to Aunt Martha's of all places. And I feel, this is my opinion, that maybe people wouldn't need Bremen Youth as much if they didn't have, they wouldn't have to go to Aunt Martha's, I guess is what I'm trying to say, if they had the counseling and whatnot that Bremen Youth has serviced this county, Cook County for years, and he has gone above and beyond. And I just want to let you know, you being a Sox fan, this man is a big Sox fan, and my daughter, when she was a teenager, we're Cubs fans, and when she was a teenager, he had never been to a Cubs game because he's that against the Cubs. He took my daughter to a Cubs game. That's how much he cares, and he's never been back to another Cubs game. But I just want to let you know that's how this man is, and he's not a politician, never has been. He's in his 70s. He should be retired, but no, he believes in the children of the of this community, and it services a long way. And then Maggie can put her arms around all these old people and give them free lunches over at the township monthly.
Yeah, thanks for the call.
Run a bingo, but I'm just saying, and I've known her my whole life too, and she's been in politics for a long time. But
thanks for the call, Karen. Appreciate it. Grace in Oak Forest here on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, I'm Grace Bardusk, and I'm running for assessor for Bremen Township with the Bremen Families First Party, and it's time for Maggie Crotty and her crowd to go. We have seen in just 4 years of the 12 years that she's been in office, a 49% increase in property taxes, township salaries increased by 25%, and an overfunded pension by 237%.
Thanks for the call, Grace. Good luck today. And, Bremen Township families, voters, got a clear choice, and it's yours.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Truck and SUV sales are up. Passenger cars are down. A Wyoming city cheering President Trump's coal initiatives and the president's tweets to be history. Those stories next. Hi, folks. Are you an individual or business who owes at least $10,000 to the IRS? Are your wages being garnished? Has your bank account been levied? Do you have years of unfiled tax returns and you're losing sleep at night worrying about it all? Rapid Resolution Tax Group is a team of tax attorneys, enrolled agents, and tax professionals who have helped thousands of people with problems just like yours. They're accredited with the Better Business Bureau, and they guarantee same-day contact with the IRS. If you qualify, Rapid Resolution Tax Group can work towards settling your tax debt for less, removing penalties and fees, and stopping levies and garnishments. They're not intimidated by the IRS, and they promise not to let the IRS intimidate you. Call the professionals at Rapid Resolution Tax Group. They're at 800-601-2929. 800-601-2929. That's 800-601-2929. Ford, GM, and Nissan reporting big increases in sales of their trucks and SUVs last month, but March car sales not as hot. Ford passenger cars, in fact, down 7.5%. Honda lost 2%, but GM passenger car sales rose 2%. The mayor of Gillette, Wyoming, is applauding President Trump's rollback of Obama-era climate change regulations. The locals predict the open-pit coal mines in the community will soon be thriving again. And President Donald Trump's tweets are destined to be part of American history. The National Archives and Records Administration has asked the White House for all presidential tweets to be preserved as historical documents. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker may not stand out on a debate stage that includes Donald Trump and a dozen other GOP presidential candidates, but he's been a standout conservative reform governor with staying power in the birthplace of modern progressivism, who is poised in 2018 to win what seems like his 17th re-election campaign since 2010. Perhaps his fellow cheeseheads, Paul Ryan and Reince Priebus, could learn from Walker's executive example. Walker is understated but unflappable. He makes big bets on core principles. The public sector unions could lay siege to Madison, and Democrat legislators could abdicate to Rockford, Illinois, both of which happened. But Walker was not to be deterred. From the outset, Walker brought jumpy GOP legislative leaders in and held their hands while they collectively implemented reforms that lowered taxes and generated budget surpluses, expanded school choice for Wisconsin students and teachers alike, and turned Pleasant Prairie into a Midwestern center of corporate campuses where more net jobs are created weekly than Illinois has created this century. Perhaps because of his suburban dad, room temperature personality, Walker hasn't received the fanfare he deserves, but he has given us a model of conservative reform governance that should be emulated and scaled nationally.
Are you buying or selling a business or starting a business? Maybe you have legal problems with a business partner or employees, or are just drowning in new regulations. You need the support of a law firm that concentrates in a wide range of business law and tax matters. You need the corporate team at Kelleher and Buckley. Whether you're a local mom and pop shop, middle market business, or a large corporation or franchise, they provide cost-effective legal solutions to help your businesses thrive. The lawyers of Kelleher and Buckley focus on targeted legal advice tailored to meet the specific needs of your business. You deserve competent legal representation from a law firm maintaining a high level of knowledge about the ever-changing laws governing businesses. One that also includes accountants and tax specialists on board to provide your business bottom-line solutions. Kelleher and Buckley, LLC of North Barrington and Chicago is a legal solution provider that also includes estate planning, asset protection, life insurance planning, and litigation. Keep your business on track. Call 847-382-9130 or online at KelleherBuckley.com.
Hey Chicagoland, the construction season is here and it's gearing up to be a good one. About time, right? And we need to start getting our ducks in a row. So maybe you're concerned about the assets in your drafting department. Or maybe you are the asset and you'd rather be in the field than at your desk. Whatever the case, no need to worry, Draft Tech has got your back. Whether it's piping, electrical, plumbing, or mechanical, we've got experienced designers and drafters that can add value to any project. We've got the software, AutoCAD, Revit, SolidWorks, Inventor, and Plant 3D. We've got MEP and Navisworks to help guide you through the BIM waters. We've got 3D scanners that create a perfect model of your pre-project space so you can say goodbye to project-killing ads and reworks. So whether you're a big company with more projects than people or a small contractor trying to move up the food chain, DraftTech has got you covered. Check us out at draftingresults.com. That's DraftTech at draftingresults.com. DraftTech, cutting-edge technology, old-school service.
Scoundrels are not exclusive to politics. They're smart enough to occupy necessity service industries like the automotive business. As a real estate broker, my car is a lifeline and a total necessity to my business and my family, which is why I had to seek out an honest, truthful auto service provider. For over the past decade, I've put my trust in Craigies Mobile Service Center on Lake Street in Addison. Craigies handles full auto repair on foreign and domestic vehicles. They pride themselves on providing you the best cost-effective auto repair and expert advice. Craigies has full service bays and truck lifts that can service and manage your whole fleet. They also provide priority service for your business and can track each vehicle, alerting you to the repair before you need it, keeping your guys on the road. Since 1959, Craigies Mobile Service Center has thrived through 10 presidential administrations, giving you reputable, dependable, and honest auto repair. Do yourself a favor. Just go into Craigies on Lake Street in Addison. See my guy Vic. He'll set you up. Tell him Sean from Elmwood Park sent you. I approve of this message.
How would you like to have insurance for your computer's network? Something to protect your hardware and software, and more importantly, give you peace of mind. Well, using Turnkey IT for installation and support of your systems is like having insurance for your computer network. For one affordable monthly payment, your company gets a full team of certified technicians who are there for you, working in the background to ensure your systems are up and running. They'll help you over the phone and make house calls to your workplace. And Turnkey IT doesn't wait until there's an emergency call, because they work hard to take preventative measures to keep networks secure, backed up, and running nonstop. Turnkey IT can protect your network with the Turnkey experience, where everything is included: Office 365 hosting, advanced network protection, cloud backup, disaster recovery, and unlimited remote and on-site support. Find out what Turnkey IT can do for your company today. It's easy. Just visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Donald Trump is like a Chinese finger trap to Democrats. I'll explain at 7:07.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're following just ahead of Fox News. A deadly crash involving a police squad car in Chicago. 2 teens charged in a Facebook gang rape case. We'll get reaction from the Chicago police. White Sox and Tigers rained out, rescheduled for later today, while the Cubs continue their series with the Cardinals. Cloudy and gray day today with a shower in spots. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. There in morning. In Moscow, a church service for the victims of the subway bombing in St. Petersburg, Russia, which might have been the work of a suicidal terrorist. Fox's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
Dave, a statement from Russia's investigative committee saying it's thought this was the work of a suicide bomber. A suspect has been identified by authorities in Kyrgyzstan as a Russian-born Kyrgyz citizen. Russian officials saying 14 people were killed in the blast. The train's driver has been speaking to reporters. Alexander Kavarin saying, "I had no time to be scared. I had to do my job." He's been praised for getting the train through to the next station after the bomb went off, allowing quicker evacuations. Dave?
Simon, Syrian opposition forces claim a small field hospital has been hit by an airstrike in a northern town hours after a chemical attack. Those are medical workers attending to victims. The Syrian monitoring group says 58 people were killed by the gas, many more were injured. It's a big day in President Trump's vow to build a big border wall. Today's the deadline for bids for the first design contract. Some bidders have asked if workers will be protected from hostile attacks or if employees would be allowed to carry guns. They're cheering a championship in Chapel Hill.
I can't describe this feeling right now.
After North Carolina won the NCAA title, Fox's Chris Honig was at the game and joins us live.
Dave, the Tar Heels scored the game's final 8 points, sealing the national championship for North Carolina, 71-65 winners over Gonzaga.
At the end, when you're watching your kids jump around and the excitement, the thrill they have, there's no better feeling in the world as a coach.
Roy Williams becomes the first coach ever to win 3 national championships at his alma mater, the Tar Heels' 6th title overall, Dave.
And Chris, some NHL stars are angry. The league will not send its players to the 2018 Olympics in South Korea. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
7:03, 45 degrees, AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. One man is dead following a crash involving an unmarked Chicago police squad car. Chicago police say officers were responding to a call of shots fired and were driving along northbound South Michigan Avenue last night when their vehicle slammed into a Honda at East 105th. The driver of that Honda vehicle died at a nearby hospital, the officers suffering minor injuries. 2 teens face charges in the gang rape of a 15-year-old Chicago girl that was streamed live over Facebook last month. Police say a 15-year-old boy surrendered to authorities yesterday after a 14-year-old boy was arrested over the weekend. Police Commander Brendan Denahan.
The detectives working with Facebook have executed several social media search warrants, and we were able to eventually identify 2 of these offenders.
Both are charged as juveniles with sexual assault and the manufacturing and distribution of child pornography. Authorities are investigating after 2 men were stabbed in northwest suburban Crystal Lake. Police say the stabbing happened last night near a Taco Bell in the 400 block of Virginia. Both victims remain hospitalized. Federal government's role in reforming the Chicago Police Department is up in the air following the actions of U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, ordering a review yesterday of all police reform agreements and investigations initiated by the Justice Department. In January, the DOJ revealed results of a probe that they say discovered a variety of abuses within the Chicago Police Department. Voters throughout the Chicago suburbs heading to the polls later today. Races for mayor decided in Aurora, Bolingbrook, Batavia, Orland Park, and Evanston. Chicago sports. Opening day for the White Sox, pushed back to today at 1:10 between the Sox and Tigers. Cubs and Cardinals continue their season-opening 3-game set tonight in St. Louis. Bulls take on the Knicks. Blackhawks clashing with the Avalanche. The news a service of Staples. Filing your own taxes this year? Staples helps you be accountable with everything you need for tax season for less. Storage boxes, filing supplies, software like QuickBooks and TurboTax. And right now, get up to $10 off when you buy TurboTax. In-store only, ends 4/15/17. Staples, make more happen. 7:05, time to check the climate of your business with AirComfort.com. providing the right climate for business since 1935. We'll have a check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Over 3 million businesses use Indeed.com for hiring, and independent research shows that 5 times more hires are made through Indeed than any other job site. By creating the easiest, most effective hiring experience, we help businesses find great new people every day. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
ADT presents What to Consider When Considering Home Security. An ADT sign is more than a sign. It's a line in the sand. On one side, your family. On the other, an uncertain world.
For over 140 years, more people have chosen ADT to help prevent crime than anyone else. Get ADT starting at just $28.99 a month.
Tested, trusted, proven ADT.
With 36-month contract for licensing and terms and conditions, visit ADT.com.
7:06. Let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the north side, Sheridan Road remains blocked off between Foster and Bryn Mawr with police activity. Eden's 26 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. The Kennedy now 45 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 20 from Montrose, 18 on the Express. Outbound 28 minutes to the airport. The Eisenhower, 55 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 42 from Manheim. Outbound 34 to Thorndale. Stevenson from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. It's now an hour and 3 minutes. 51 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound 39 minutes to 355. The Ryan, 29 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 28 minutes. I-80 to the Merge, Bishop 419. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, slow 18th to the Stevenson. Northbound Tri-State heavy from the Stevenson to 47th and from the Reagan all the way to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial, bit tight, Roosevelt to St. Charles. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
A shower at a few spots early on. Otherwise, a mostly cloudy day today with a high 57. Overcast tonight with a little rain toward dawn, low 39. Then tomorrow increasingly windy with periods of rain. Cooler with a high tomorrow 43. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560 The Answer.
Currently 47 at O'Hare, 45 along the lakefront. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560 The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So here's my my simile. Trump is like a Chinese finger trap for Democrats. The more they try and pull him apart, the more they lock him in. Don't you think? And I'm going to give you two examples. One is Neil Gorsuch and the Democrats' insistence on filibustering Gorsuch's nomination. All that does is ensure that the nuclear option is exercised, something Mitch McConnell wouldn't otherwise be inclined to do because of his, allegiance to Senate custom. He's an institution man. There's no question about it. And it paves the way for a simple majority vote for Trump's next nominee when, for example, Anthony Kennedy retires, which may be in the not-too-distant future. So we don't even have to worry with respect to Trump's next nominee about pulling, so-called centrist Democrats like Joe Donnelly or Joe Manchin or Heidi Heitkamp over like have come over for Gorsuch. They're really making sure Gorsuch gets confirmed and making sure the next justice gets confirmed based on Republicans having a simple majority in the Senate. Now, the argument, this will be used against Republicans someday when Democrats have control, perhaps.
Of course it will be.
Perhaps.
They're all about payback because they're still upset about Merrick Garland, so this is a little bit of payback for that.
Today is not that day. in terms of control of the Senate, and thus the determination of who will be confirmed to the Supreme Court. And as people understand that the Supreme Court entails a lifetime appointment, the Democrats could take control of the Senate in 2018. They could take control of the Senate in 2020, 2020. Someday in the not-too-distant future, it's certainly possible. Unlikely, but possible. Neil Gorsuch will be on the Supreme Court for the next 40 years in all likelihood, or 30 years, whatever.
I'm going for 40.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
He's
Decades.
young. Right.
And very likely whoever's Trump's next Supreme Court nominee to replace, for instance, Anthony Kennedy, will also be there for a long time. So it's such an interesting miscalculation by Senate Minority Leader Pagliacci and the left, but it speaks to how radicalized the Democrat Party is and how much the leadership of that party feels like they have to satiate the leftist base of the party. It's really fascinating. But it all redounds to the benefit of Trump. He gets a victory, and he ensures that he'll have another victory if and when he gets another Supreme Court vacancy to fill.
Has the nuclear option ever been invoked when it comes to the a Supreme Court nominee before, Dan? Is this the first time this has ever happened? Because that's the first time I recall it happening. But I know you're the historian here.
Well, I mean, it's Thomas was confirmed 52-48.
Yeah.
It wasn't 60 votes.
No, that's right.
So that's one example of the Chinese finger trap argument. And then the other is Susan Rice. I mean, Susan Rice just turned this whole Russia investigation into Trump, or this FBI investigation into Trump, Russia, better put, on its head. Now the focus, at least for the next couple days until Susan Rice directly addresses what was revealed by Eli Lake in his Bloomberg piece, or testifies before congressional committees, or the whole focus of the conversation and the investigation now turns to the Obama administration, now turns on the Democrats. As much as they were putting so much hope in literally deposing Donald Trump based on these unsubstantiated allegations of Russian collusion, now they have to cover their own arses because the one crime we know that's committed, the leaking of General Flynn's name, potentially leads back to Obama's national security advisor. You remember Susan Rice from such lies as Benghazi.
Based on the best information we have to date, what our assessment is as of the present is in fact what it began spontaneously in Benghazi as a reaction to what had transpired some hours earlier in Cairo, where, of course, as you know, there was a violent protest outside of our embassy sparked by this hateful video. But soon after that spontaneous protest began outside of our consulate in Benghazi, we believe that it looks like extremist elements, individuals joined in that effort with heavy weapons of the sort that are unfortunately readily now available in Libya post-revolution, and that it spun from there into something much, much more violent.
But you do not agree with him that this was something that had been plotted out several months ago?
We do not have information at present that leads us to conclude that this was premeditated or pre-planned.
I think lying about the nature of the deaths of Ambassador Stevens and Sean Smith and Glenn Doherty and Ty Woods leaves me not inclined to give Susan Rice the benefit of the doubt on this matter.
So the trust has been broken.
Yeah, I would say. And so Eli Lake's piece in Bloomberg, White House lawyers last month learned the former National Security Advisor Susan Rice requested the identities of U.S. persons in raw intelligence reports on dozens of occasions that connect to the Donald Trump transition and campaign. The pattern of Rice's request was discovered in a National Security Council review of the government policy on unmasking the identities of individuals in the U.S. who are not targets of electronic eavesdropping. The Wall Street Journal in their op-ed today, Susan Rice unmasked. adds, a U.S. intelligence official confirms to us the bombshell news first reported by Bloomberg that Ms. Rice requested the name of at least one Trump transition official listed in an intelligence report in the months between Election Day and the Trump inauguration. Our source confirmed that Ms. Rice also examined dozens of other intelligence summaries that technically masked Trump official identities, but were written in such a way as to make obvious who those officials were. Importantly here, we're told by a source who has seen the unmasked documents that they included political information about the Trump transitions team's meetings and policy intentions. We are also told that none of these documents had anything to do with Russia or the FBI investigation into ties between Russia and the Trump campaign. They all go on to resuscitate Devin Nunes's reputation, the House Intel chairman. Now we know he is onto something, Nunes, as we know, and we know that Mr. Nunes had to go to the White House to verify his information because the records containing Mrs. Rice's unmasking request are held at the National Security Council. Oh. Now, we don't know if what Susan Rice did, if this all checks out, was improper. We don't know if it was illegal.
Well,
but it sure smacks of impropriety.
Right. I mean, it's someone's unmasked. It sounds sinister, but she had her right as NSA director to unmask somebody. But the reason is, did she do it in the interest of national security, or was this political payback or political retribution?
Well, or using the state for political purposes to observe political opponents. That's the real question.
Was this needed?
And that's an open question, and that requires an answer. And we don't have that answer yet. But when you're talking about Susan Rice also, too, now let's go to Susan Rice's credibility present day on this matter. Susan Rice, just 2 weeks ago.
I know, it's so weird.
With Judy Woodruff on PBS. And she said this about unmasking.
I know nothing about this. I was surprised to see reports from Chairman Nunes on that count today.
So
she sounded nervous, and she looked nervous if you watch the video and see the interview.
So again, if it was all in the course of business, if it was in the interest of national security, why is she apparently lying to Judy Woodruff that she knows nothing about it? At least if this report that Bloomberg, Eli Lake has at Bloomberg, that's confirmed by the Wall Street Journal and other outlets, that she was involved in the unmasking.
And why would she go on?
Why would she lie?
Why would she lie? And then also, too, she is the alleged leaker, too. Why would you put yourself in that position where you could be caught on camera, on video, lying again?
Well, we don't know who the leaker is. And we know from testimony from Mike Rogers before the House Intel Committee a couple weeks back that there are a number of people within National Security Agency and other agencies that have access to unmasked information that also have the ability to request or authorize the unmasking in these intercepts. But
yeah, we had former Attorney General Alberto Gonzales on earlier who said it might not be her, but somebody else who had access to the information.
It might not
have leaked it.
Yeah, it might not, but it might be too, because she clearly was involved, and she clearly, as NSA, had the authority, and so she had the information. So did she turn around and leak it? These are questions, but they're questions that turn this entire conversation and investigation on its head. The Democrats can't be too happy about this. I thought Krauthammer summed it up nicely last night.
Clearly, there was some improprieties in the gathering of information about the Trump people. There probably was a felony committed in the leaking of the information about General Flynn. The story today about Susan Rice is, well, if she did order, or if she did allow herself to go in and then to unmask all these people, the question is this: was it in pursuit of national security interests, in which case it's proper, or was it not, in which case it's improper, possibly illegal?
So that's where we're at. George in Libertyville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, great stuff. You know, Amy, I agree with you. I saw that interview last night on video with her, and her eyes were fluttering like a butterfly. But, Dan, I wonder if she gets to take the fifth if she appears in front of Congress. And then last,
she could.
I was wondering if she was using under national security the ability to literally surveil the campaign itself as Trump was gaining in the polls.
Oh, yeah, the timing of it. Yeah, thanks for the call, George. Yeah, the timing of it. I mean, these are all good questions that we don't have answers to yet, but the timing of this is quite important. And it also, frankly, now brings back the Evelyn Farkas interview and her effort to kind of clean up her interview from earlier this month. This is the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Russia, Ukraine, Eurasia, who talked about how we know what we know. Now, she left the government in October of 2015, and then she, covered the curious thing she said on MSNBC by saying all I knew was what I saw and read in news reports. But boy, oh boy, this all starts to prompt some disturbing questions if you're a fan of the Democrat Party and you thought this gang was going to topple the Trump administration.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Coming up next, the big reveal. The DNA test results are in. Dan, you're not the father. But first,
Thank you, Maury.
Here's your forecast. Shower in spots early this morning. Otherwise, it will be mostly cloudy, especially at around 1:10 this afternoon when you have your do-over for your season opener, you White Sox fans. It'll be a high of 55 degrees, and enjoy it because tomorrow it's going to be really windy and cool and pretty miserable around here. We're going to have rain on and off and a high in the low 40s. Let's get into our alarm detection systems traffic center to the father of traffic. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. I'd like to think it was born before me. On the north side of Chicago, Sheridan Road remains closed between Foster and Bryn Mawr due to police activity in that area. We're seeing delays now on southbound Lakeshore Drive from Irving Park to North Avenue, and it's heavy 18th to the Stevenson. Edens, 28 minutes, Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 23. Kennedy, 50 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 25 from Montrose, 19 in the Express. Outbound 30 to the airport. The Eisenhower, 1 hour, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 38 minutes. The Stevenson, an hour and 7 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 38 minutes. The Ryan is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Veterans Memorial, so 75th to the Reagan Tollway and Butterfield to St. Charles. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, spring is here. The birds, the bees, seasonal allergies. Oh, yeah. And the last thing you need is a pillow you're allergic to. That's why MyPillow is hypoallergenic. It's a good night's sleep for you, guaranteed, or your money back. It has a 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. So what do you have to lose? And for April, you'll receive a 50% discount on the MyPillow 4-pack. That's 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows. Now with MyPillow, you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need, regardless of sleep position. You'll get into deep sleep faster and stay there longer. No more waking up to a stiff neck or headache. I absolutely love MyPillow. Can't live without it. And I also love the fact that you can wash it and dry it right in your home. So go to MyPillow.com, get 50% off that 4-pack. Type Amy in the promo code. Again, that's MyPillow.com, promo code Amy. Or call the number, 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
How can you get a better grasp on what your portfolio looks like for retirement? Tabota & Associates just might have the technology to help you answer that question. Jack Tabota and the team at Tabota & Associates builds retirement plans custom fit for you using a variety of insurance and investment products. At Tabota & Associates, no two retirement plans are the same, and they can use a tool called Riskalyze to show what your risk tolerance number is. Once you have it, you'll have a better understanding of how much risk you can take on and if your current portfolio is exposing you to potential losses that you cannot afford. Why not let the team at Tabota & Associates do the heavy lifting for you? 630-777-7955. That's 630-777-7955. Take some of the guesswork out of planning and Riskalyze your retirement portfolio today. Tabota & Associates, 630-777-7955. Investments involve risk, including the potential loss of principal invested. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
When was the last time you had a full audit of your fire and safety protection plan? Sure, you have all your equipment serviced periodically as required. However, most service technicians, while highly qualified, are focused on the mechanics of their inspections and are not looking at the big picture of a full fire protection plan and whether it still makes sense for you. Your plan was probably effective when it was first implemented, but over the years, changes in your operations and advances in fire and safety technology may have rendered your current plan ineffective. If it's been a long time since someone took a serious look at your fire protection plan, or if you've never had an evaluation audit, give Illinois Fire and Safety a call to have one of their professional auditors come out to visit your facilities. They're on a mission to improve fire and safety in the workplace. Let Illinois Fire and Safety help ensure that your workplace has the most appropriate and effective fire and safety plan and equipment in place. Go to IllinoisFire.com for a complimentary fire and safety audit. That's IllinoisFire.com.
Are you facing foreclosure, been foreclosed upon, in a bad modification, or just stuck in a bad mortgage? Well, we may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've been helping distressed homeowners like you for over 8 years now. We defend foreclosure actions. We bring claims against the banks and the servicers for wrongful foreclosure and other violations of mortgage servicing regulations. And we help people negotiate modifications of their existing mortgages, often including principal reductions. Give us a call. We provide free consultations. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest analysis, counsel, and advice regarding your options.
Hi, this is Rayanne from Lou Bridges & Associates. I am one of the loan modification processors here, and if you are in need of any additional information in regard to a loan modification, please contact the office.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
AM 560, The Answer. AM 560, The Answer.
Crushed. So I did the...
Some things are better left unknown, I tried to tell you.
I know. I did the Ancestry DNA kit. You know, they come to your house, they send you a kit, and they you spit into a little test tube and put some solution in it, mail it back. And I tried to get you to do it, too, because you're adopted, and I just wanted to see, you know, what are you? Right. Half man, half beast.
Exactly.
So the DNA test results are in, and I'm not the Swedish princess that I thought I was.
You're related to a Nazi Gruppenführer.
I am 29% Scandinavian, 58% Great Britain. I mean, I know I'm a daughter of the American Revolution. I'm a Dar, and our ancestors came over from the Mayflower. So apparently, I mean, I'm more that.
Boy.
But guess what I'm 8% of?
Thank you for founding our country.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Pay the tab later.
Okay, Plymouth Rock Jacobson.
Okay. Guess what I'm 8% of? Any guess? The Republic of Congo sound familiar? No, I'm not. Just kidding. I'm not African. Darn it. That's what I am.
8%.
And I had to tell the whole family. We had an emergency conference call last night between my mom and my sisters because I wanted to know how this group got in our bloodline.
I'm thinking either Banana Republic or totalitarian theocracy. I
have to learn the language now that it's part of my homeland.
You got a little bit of a Hugo Chavez look going, so I'm going to say Venezuelan.
No, we're Russian. Russian.
Russian collusion.
Yeah.
You're a collaborator.
So now the way I do my job is going to be different because I might be related to Putin. But I'm also a little bit Slovenian, so I might be related to Melania Trump and Croatian.
Susan Rice is going to unmask your communiques with Edward James Olmos.
You're next, buddy, so I'll be wearing the Russian hat proudly now. Oh. Coming.
"45 degrees. I thought you'd be Dutch because you're over 6 feet. So
No Dutch whatsoever.
Well, shame on you.
Thanks.
Cloudy skies out there this morning, and Jim Talamonte is along in just a minute with an update on your very busy traffic morning. We'll start in the Senate this morning, where Rand Paul wants former National Security Advisor Susan Rice to testify before Congress. You've been talking about this with Dan and Amy this morning here on AM 560. The Kentucky Republican says she should answer questions about whether President Obama ordered her to unmask the names of Americans caught up in surveillance of foreign officials. The Senate begins debate on the Supreme Court nomination of Neil Gorsuch today. Republican leaders want to have the judge confirmed by week's end. Democrats planning a filibuster. Information about your online behavior can now be sold. Only you're not the one who will be making any money from it. President Trump signed a bill wiping out privacy rules created by the FCC last year. That means internet companies can now sell the browsing histories of customers without their knowledge or permission. One man is dead following a crash involving an unmarked Chicago police squad car. Officers responding to a shots fired call were driving northbound on South Michigan Avenue last night when their vehicle slammed into a Honda at East 105th. 2 teens now face charges in the gang rape of a 15-year-old Chicago girl that was streamed live over Facebook last month. Authorities investigating a double stabbing in northwest suburban Crystal Lake. It happened last night. Both victims remain hospitalized. And Mayor Emanuel heading to Washington next week. He'll meet with Trump administration officials about federal infrastructure plans, including the mayor advocating for Chicago plans that include a high-speed rail line from the Loop to O'Hare. Opening day for the White Sox pushed back to today. Between the Tigers and Sox, due to rain, Cubs and Cardinals continue their season-opening 3-game set tonight in St. Louis. The news is a service of Westin Hotels and Resorts. At Westin Hotels and Resorts, they offer running gear to their guests. Why? Well, it's not to help you race to catch your flight. It's so you can pack less and work out more while on the road, because they know what a runaround travel can be. Westin Workout Gear Lending. Westin, let's rise. 7:33 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager sees the pressure of bigger and bigger government.
It sucks the oxygen out of civic life. It sucks the oxygen out of moral life because people in America took care of other people. In Europe, they don't take care of each other because they know the government will take care of their neighbor. It is one of the biggest moral consequences of bigger and bigger government.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
They're here, circling over your head, and they're tracking you down. You feel overwhelmed, like you can't escape. You need a solution to get your back taxes filed, to put your life back on track. You need someone who can keep the vultures at bay and work directly with the IRS to leverage every opportunity to settle your tax debt. Mary Karpowitz, CEO of Comprehensive Tax Solutions, is licensed to represent you before the IRS. Don't let the IRS threaten you. You should never need to speak to them directly. Mary does that for you. Comprehensive Tax Solutions will help you settle your entire IRS tax debt for up to 85% off the original amount owed, including penalties and interest if you qualify. Comprehensive Tax Solutions, family owned in Chicagoland, can be a lifesaver for you. Call 708-478-6770, 708-478-6770, or go to resolveyourtaxproblems.com. Call 708-478-6770 now.
7:35. Let's get an update on the roads this morning. Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Edens runs 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 29. The Kennedy, 50 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 25 from Montrose, 19 on the Express. Outbound 30 to the airport. The Eisenhower is an hour. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 43 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 7 minutes. 3:55 to the drive, outbound 36 minutes. The Ryan, 31 minutes. 95th to downtown, northbound Tri-State. Stop and go from the Mile Long Bridge to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan to North Avenue. Veterans Memorials, those 75th most of the way to St. Charles. The traffic is the service of Staples. HP Savings Month at Staples means big savings on great HP products all month long. Now buy one HP ink and get the second at 40% off. And experience the outstanding print quality of HP ink. Ends 4/8. Restrictions apply. See staples.com/HP month. Staples, make more happen. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. We'll have a shower in spots this early morning. Rain has already come through in areas, otherwise mostly cloudy, and 55. Overcast and a bit of rain toward dawn tomorrow morning. 38, and a blustery spring day tomorrow. Winds could top 30 miles an hour with periods of rain and a high only of 44. Currently 46. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, don't be caught without the facts. Listen to me, Sean Hannity, this afternoon at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. President Trump has had a rough couple of weeks, but the tide may be turning. You're going to have a victory this week with the confirmation of Neil Gorsuch. You had Susan Rice enter the Russian collusion story and turn that on its head. And you've also got word out, reported in the Washington Examiner, that perhaps Trump and the Freedom Caucus are inching ever closer to a deal on Obamacare repeal and replace. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined, all of the above actually, we're pleased to be joined by our friend David Ferdoso, he of the Washington Examiner, writer and columnist there, WashingtonExaminer.com. David, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
So why don't we start with the story that was reported in the Examiner about Trump and the Freedom Caucus. There seems to have been over the last week, a lot of I'll do a deal with the Democrats. Rand Paul plays golf with them and says, I think we're getting closer to a deal. That certainly couldn't include the Democrats. And now your outlet reporting that the Freedom Caucus is in play and perhaps a deal is in the offing.
Yeah, well, they're actually going to be rolling out the new, or whatever you want to call it, Obamacare Repeal 2.0 today. And part of the way that they're winning the Freedom Caucus votes, or at least some of them, enough of them, is that they are allowing the states to make up their own minds on the various mandates in Obamacare. And the idea is that they should be able to, in most states that want to allow insurance that doesn't cover absolutely everything to be sold, they should be able to bring down premiums for people, but, back down to more reasonable levels like we had before Obamacare.
But will moderate Republicans accept this new plan?
Yeah, and because the thing is for them, that their states can continue to impose the mandate. But you have to remember that, people are going to say, oh, you're getting rid of the requirement for this and that. But look, insurers will cover those things if you want them to. If you want to buy the plan that covers acupuncture, in this case, we're talking about should a 55-year-old man have to carry a policy that carries maternity coverage, or there are all kinds of issues here where you're paying more for coverage that in most cases people aren't going to need. And that's the main thing that spikes premiums. The Freedom Caucus folks were worried with the original repeal bill that if they voted for this, premiums are not going to go down, just people are going to lose insurance. And we're going to pay the price, in the next election, because we're not doing something that's true to the true repeal of Obamacare.
So this version 2.0 that's rolled out today, this is going to be rolled out as a unity deal with Paul Ryan and the Freedom Caucus and the president all in agreement, and there's going to be a vote in the not too distant future, and this is going to move out of the House into the Senate, and this is back on track?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. We'll get the exact reaction. But given that Rand Paul, of all people, ferocious critic of Obamacare 1.0, Obamacare repeal 1.0, the fact that he's talking like he's optimistic seems pretty like a pretty darn good sign for this. And boy, if they came back, I mean, the perception we're going to get, if were this to pass the House especially, okay, we would see the whole first thing was a complete debacle, right? Well, Trump steps in, makes the deal. He gets to sell his whole, hey, I'm the negotiator guy thing again.
Well, and the interesting thing about this, too, I mean, in addition to reminding people to take a deep breath when things don't quite go exactly as hoped in a particular moment in politics, it doesn't mean that the story is over, number one. Number two, it really paints some members of Congress who've been sort of antagonistic towards the Freedom Caucus, like, frankly, one of our congressmen here in Illinois, Adam Kinzinger, wrote an op-ed in the New York Times about them over the weekend, really puts them in a corner. Now the Freedom Caucus doesn't come across as particularly intransigent at all. They wanted a better deal. They got a better deal. They came to terms with Trump. They show they're willing to be reasonable and take half or three-quarters of a loaf and move the flag towards a market-oriented health insurance system. And so where does that leave those who are some of the more vocal critics of the Freedom Caucus, both in the House and the Senate?
Well, I agree, and I'm sympathetic to the Freedom Caucus for holding out for something a little better. However, it's important also to remember that, they came under intense pressure. They're representing districts in many cases that got heavy support from Trump, and Trump just going on, on Twitter and on social media,
right,
and just hitting them over and over and over and over again. What we've seen here is a kind of combined carrot and stick effort by Trump, by Ryan, by and then just the you remember how it felt when that bill failed, and it just seemed like, oh my gosh, they can get elected, but they can't do anything in government. What on earth is going to happen? I think a lot of these guys feel like, okay, we've been through that once. Let's make a deal. But I think a lot of them are reasonable. Many of them will vote against 2.0 as well, though. Something worth being in mind. But I suspect it's a much higher number are going to vote for this than voted for it the first time, or would have voted for it the first time.
Now, yesterday you wrote a fascinating article about Susan Rice and how she kept tabs on Team Trump. It's a story. Do you think it's generating enough buzz now that everybody's talking about it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, suddenly, as of about last night, this became the big story. The thing is, it was reported pretty early yesterday morning, and you saw the Obama alumni, the people from the Obama administration, going on social media and just absolutely, outraged, and spouting off everything except addressing the actual merits of the issue. And this actually happened, is the thing. This is, this is actually a thing. And this is going to be a big deal going forward. And like I've been telling people for weeks now, there's a better chance someone goes to jail over this than there is over the whole Russia business.
Well, right, and all of Ben Rhodes' novelists are not going to be able to undo the fact that the leaking of General Flynn's name was a crime, and who would be positioned to do that? Well, it would obviously be Obama administration officials, and now not saying that it was Susan Rice, but you have the highest echelons of his national security team now in the crosshairs as a suspect.
Yeah. Well, and for doing what? For apparently satisfying one's own curiosity. These
Do you really think she was freelancing? You really think she was freelancing?
No, I think she probably felt like, well, I'm allowed to see these things. Why shouldn't I be able to? If there's someone involved in the Trump administration, the Trump transition, whose name was caught on one of these things, I want to see who it was.
Yeah.
And then the name ends up in the media. And, this is how now these conversations apparently that we're talking about here are not Russia-related. So perhaps the Flynn conversation here, she may well not be the source for that. But it's amazing that she's requesting all these names and that then all these documents end up being found all over the place in the government.
Well, and the other thing that's happened, too, is Devin Nunes's credibility is on the upswing, and Adam Schiff is gone rather silent of late.
Yes, that's right. And, there was at the very beginning of that story. And I think, Nunes deserves a little bit of blame for maybe not quite handling it in the optimal way. However, you could tell, no one was wanting to listen to what he was saying. Everybody's so convinced that Trump's going to prison and, he's there's going to be something with him and Putin. And when they heard Nunes say what he said, they were so quick to dismiss it that they didn't listen carefully to what he said. And what he said was, these are conversations between officials, not Russian, foreign officials that we were monitoring, or between Trump transition people and those officials, conversations about the Trump transition people or with the Trump transition people, that says that we're caught on surveillance because we routinely monitor foreign people. These recordings were not illegal. They were made lawfully in the course of what we do as a government and what we agree that we do. And, however, that the names of the people involved were being inappropriately revealed, and that these things, these documents we had, there's no apparent intelligence value to any of them. So this is one of those things where people wanted to see the names because they wanted to see the names.
Yeah, right, exactly. Good stuff on both Obamacare Replace as well as Susan Rice. He's David Ferdoso, writer and columnist for the Washington Examiner, WashingtonExaminer.com. David, thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, bulletproof vests and helmets for Chicago kids to keep them safe. Crazy idea? We'll explain. But first, here's your forecast. A shower in spots early this morning, otherwise mostly cloudy, a high of 55 degrees. And then tonight, a light rain. And tomorrow, we're going to have rain on and off throughout the day. It's going to be windy and pretty miserable, a high in the low 40s. Let's get the travel times. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Amy, your inbound Kennedy's really heavy now. From Sayre to the Burn Circle, it is an hour and 13 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 47 minutes from Montrose, 25 in the Express, big savings. Outbound, 37 minutes downtown to the airport. Edens, 22 minutes, like Cook to the Junction. Outbound, 29. The Eisenhower, an hour. Thorndale to the post office, 45 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 43 to Thorndale. The Stevenson is an hour and 16 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 38 minutes. Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 24 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop 422, outbound 27. Got a crash at Dalton Avenue in the two right lanes. Northbound Tri-States, toll Harlem to the 83rd Street toll, Plainfield Road to 47th, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. And the Reagan Tollway is now bottled up. Yackley to 355 and 22nd to the Tri-State. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Hey, start thinking about where you're going to be sending your son or daughter to school next fall. And if you thought that you couldn't afford private schools, well, we want you to think again and remind you about halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you can find local private schools from all over the Chicagoland area that are offering vouchers for a full year of tuition at half the price with no catch. Find a school near you, purchase a tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. It's really that simple. HalfPriceSchools.com has schools located all over the Chicagoland area, including Mount Prospect, South Holland, Chicago, Arlington Heights, Downers Grove, Wheaton, just to name a few. So make private schools affordable for your family for the first time. And don't forget that these vouchers sell out every year, so sooner rather than later. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
You need to switch your cell phone service to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile was founded to support conservative causes while providing the same great nationwide cell phone
These guns is being dropped in our neighborhood like kids going to get candy in the candy store.
Patriot Mobile allows you to donate up to 5% of your monthly bill to the conservative organization of your choice at no extra cost to you. Do what I'm doing. Do like me. Switch to Patriot Mobile and support the conservative agenda. Switch today and get a free iPhone with a $50 unlimited talk, text, and data plan, or a free Galaxy phone with a $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan. They will also buy out your current contract up to $500 per line. There's no catch. Call 800-A-PATRIOT, and Patriot Mobile will even waive your activation fee with promo code Joe. Or go to patriotmobile.com/Joe.
Oh, this roof is so needy.
Call Crumweedy.
How do you spell that?
K-R-U-M-W.
Oh, just go to myroofisneedy.com.
If your roof is needy, call Crumweedy. This is Greg Olson of Crumweedy.
And I'm Mark Olson from Crumweedy. We are a third-generation family-run business, and we have been doing Chicagoland roofs since 1953.
You can't do that unless you do really great roofs. We share the same conservative values as you, and we want to do your roof. Here's what you can expect.
First, no high pressure. You make the choice. Whatever option you choose, count on getting a roof that lasts at a fair price.
You see, application is the key. We follow the manufacturer's specifications so your warranty is intact. A lot of companies don't do that, and that could void your warranty.
Our installation is outstanding. No horror stories here. The roof you need that will fix your problems. When your roof is needy,
call Crumweedy.
Go to myroofisneedy.com. myroofisneedy.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's opponents on Man vs. Train. At the crossing, we have Rick, a 175-pound frustrated man who's running late for work. And on the tracks, we have Bull, a million-pound freight train that takes a mile to stop. Let's see who comes out on top.
You can't beat a train, so don't try. Stop. Trains can't. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're running out of time to switch to Jackson Hewitt. Tell H&R Block to take a hike, and we'll pay you $100 to file with us. That's right. Get money just for switching from your old service to Jackson Hewitt. Tax day is coming, so don't wait. Switch today, get $100. It pays to file at Jackson Hewitt. Open late and on weekends. Minimum tax preparation fee of $150 applies. Offer valid when you complete your taxes with us. $100 provided on a card. Not valid with any other promotion or discount. Ask a tax pro or see jacksonhewitt.com for details. Available in participating locations only. Most offices are independently owned and operated.
AM 560. The Answer. Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so far in the first 3 months of this year, 150 people murdered in Chicago, another 618 shot and wounded. Some pretty dreary statistics, right on pace with last year's horrific year where you had more than 800 people murdered and another 4,000 people shot.
And they had
4,300, I think, actually was north of that number. And so you've got some, well, I understand it's well-intended, but rather silly responses to the violence in Chicago, particularly on the south and the west sides, where we're focused on symptoms, as we always are.
Well, in the South Shore neighborhood last Thursday, within 12 hours, 7 people were killed. So that caused activist Theo Hardiman of Violence Interrupters to come forward. And, yeah, he had a provocative idea of something different.
Right now, the young people need bulletproof vests and helmets, sincerely.
Saw that on Friday and thought, I mean, is that the answer?
No.
I mean, we are in a war
Obviously,
zone.
it's not.
No, we are in a war zone. The kids in those neighborhoods on the west side, South Shore, Inglewood, they live in a war zone. And would that protect them walking to school on their playground when they're playing? If the wrong shot, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, if they had the bulletproof vest on, some of them would probably still be alive. I know it sounds crazy, but this is a new reality, and parents are sick of the violence.
These guns is being dropped in our neighborhood like kids going to get candy in the candy store.
So why don't we put everybody in, a armored Humvee? So
so school buses should be in armored when you get picked up from school. Tank could take you to school.
So there's no question. I mean, CPS. Why is there such a thing called safe passage routes? And CPS is because
they're required because there is not safe passage for children. There's no question about it. But you think Kevlar and helmets are going to address the underlying root causes of the gang violence generally, but specifically, but of the violence in Chicago? You think that's really at the heart of it? Just weaponizing the children? Come on. I mean, it's silly.
Changing their class photos.
And so is that Matt Harrington.
Oh, yeah. So Matt Harrington, he's the CEO of Ammo Coating Systems. He's behind legislation that would require ammunition manufacturers to make bullets traceable.
And they say, okay, Mr. Smith, the bullets you bought are now in this poor 5-year-old's head over here. Explain how this happened.
Hey, Matt Harrington, explain how criminals are going to go to Cabela's to buy their ammo, you clown. Symptoms, not causes.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Hey, just a few weeks ago, our AM 560 business tour stopped at Morcus Chocolates in Palatine. Actually, we were there last week. And thanks to all of the listeners, really, who stopped by to say hello. That was great. We had a wonderful time. And we learned a lot about this great company from the owner, Rhonda Morcus. Her grandfather founded the company back in 1920. The samples that Rhonda shared with us were amazing. I was also intrigued to learn about Morcus's chocolate parties. That's right. They have a party room at Morcus Chocolates in Palatine where you can experience the chocolate creations hands-on. Then you can take your chocolate creations home with you. It's not just for kids. Think about group outings, birthday parties, bachelor parties, office parties. Threw in the bachelor parties. I think we'll even celebrate Dan Proft's birthday there. Hey, there's nowhere else like Morcus Chocolates. So go to morcuschocolates.com. That's MORKES chocolates.com.
Once they get some Socks branded chocolate.
Yes, go there for more information about an outing or to view their great Easter items. Or call 847-357-3454. I can't wait to go back to Morcus Chocolates. Call them now at 847-359-3454 or visit morcuschocolates.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
When is your birthday, by the way? We have a lot of April birthdays. Keith Conrad, born in April. Marcus Brown, born in April. Of course, you were born in April.
I was hatched in a laboratory in April.
Oh, that's right. Jeff Reisman, our boss, he was born in April. So, yeah.
Fascinating.
It is very fascinating.
We should get together and have a big,
Party,
roller
Marcus.
skating party with cake and everything. What do you think?
You know what? I'm going to give you a Mylar balloon this year for your 69th birthday.
Oh, Mylar balloons. They last too long.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The roots of campus rage at 8:08.
But first, let's go into the newsroom and say good morning once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, the very latest on developments on Capitol Hill and in St. Petersburg, Russia, as the investigation into a terrorist blast continues there. Fox News with the very latest coming up. A deadly crash involving a police squad car in Chicago is being investigated. 2 teens are charged in a Facebook gang rape case, and court dates are set. 2 men stabbed in Crystal Lake, and that investigation continues. White Sox and Tigers postponed because of rain, rescheduled for later today. While the Cubs continue their series with the Cardinals, the Blackhawks will battle the Avalanche tonight. There will be a shower in spots this morning, otherwise mostly cloudy ahead. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Russia's president wants to cooperate with the West, fighting terrorists. That's come out of Vladimir Putin's talks with President Trump and the French and German leaders the day after the Russian subway bombing. Fox's Simon Owen live in our European bureau.
But Dave, Russian investigators identifying the bomber who hit a subway train in St. Petersburg as a 22-year-old man born in Kyrgyzstan named Akbarjon Jalilov. It's thought he blew himself up in the explosion. Russian officials saying he's also thought to have been behind a second bomb that was planted at a station but was found and made safe by authorities. The number killed in the attack has been revised up to 14, with 49 people in the hospital. No word on the attacker's motive. Dave?
Simon, a suspected chemical attack hits a town in northern Syria. Those are medics treating victims. The Syrian monitoring group says 58 people were killed, many more wounded. Footage activists released shows a little girl with a ventilator foaming at the mouth. Days after President Trump tweeted that House conservatives who derailed the bill to replace Obamacare should be defeated in 2018, the vice president reaches out to them. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
In a move aimed at resuscitating the Republicans' failed health care bill, Vice President Pence making a new offer to conservative House Republicans. The proposal would allow states to choose to apply for waivers to repeal 2 Obamacare regulations, one which mandates which health services insurers must cover, and another which prevents insurers from charging sick people higher premiums. Conservatives have previously called for the bill to repeal those regulations outright. The House Freedom Caucus is now reviewing the new offer. Dave?
John, the Justice Department wants to put a 90-day hold on the agreement the Obama administration made with Baltimore to reform police after a black man's controversial death while in police custody. City leaders in Baltimore object, don't want the delay. The Attorney General wants to review how the federal government supports local law enforcement. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Gray skies this morning, 45 degrees, and a blustery wind out of the north at 11. 8:02 is our time on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. One man is dead, and it follows a crash involving an unmarked Chicago police squad car. Authorities say officers were responding to a shots-fired call. They were driving along South Michigan Avenue northbound last night when their vehicle slammed into a Honda at East 105th. The driver of that Honda died at a nearby hospital. Both officers suffered minor injuries. 2 teens face charges in the gang rape and sexual assault of a 15-year-old Chicago girl that was streamed live over Facebook last month. Police say a 15-year-old boy surrendered to authorities yesterday after a 14-year-old boy was arrested over the weekend.
The detectives working with Facebook have executed several social media search warrants, and we were able to eventually identify 2 of these offenders.
Both are charged as juveniles. Chicago police are looking for the man accused of sexually assaulting a woman on the south side. Authorities say the suspect grabbed the victim last night near 26th and Wentworth. The federal government's role in reforming the Chicago Police Department is up in the air today, following the actions of U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions ordering a review yesterday of all police reform agreements and investigations initiated by the Justice Department. Voters throughout the Chicago suburbs heading to the polls today. Races for mayor decided in Aurora, Bolingbrook, Batavia, Orland Park, and Evanston, among other races. Opening day for the White Sox pushed back yesterday because of rain to this afternoon at 1:10. Cubs and Cardinals continue their series tonight in St. Louis. The news, a service of Staples. HP Savings Month at Staples means big savings on great HP products all month long. Now buy 1 HP ink and get the second at 40% off. And experience outstanding print quality of HP ink. Ends 4/8. Restrictions apply. See staples.com/HP month. Staples, make more happen. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Amazon wants to be your debit card company, too. TechCrunch says the new service is called Amazon Cash. It will allow you to deposit cash to an Amazon account by going to a store, including a CVS, Speedway, or others, and using it on your Amazon account. It's an attempt to serve customers who don't have access to bank or credit cards. Wells Fargo has been ordered to reinstate a former bank manager who lost his job after reporting suspected fraud. The Labor Department says Wells Fargo also must pay back wages, damages, and attorney's fees totaling more than $5 million. There's a new CEO at Pier 1. Alistair James is former president of Kmart. He was also in management at PepsiCo, GlaxoSmithKline, and British supermarket chain Tesco. The Dow was down 13 yesterday. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
It is 8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sees troubling actions from the Justice Department.
All evidence indicates that, in fact, Obama administration and officials surrounding the president, what did the president know? When did he know it? This is beyond troubling here. If they can tap into the president or the opposition candidate in the middle of a presidential election, nobody's information is safe.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
5 times more hires are made through Indeed.com than any other job site, according to independent research. Imagine a lottery that had 5 times more winners, or a Sunday with 5 times more touchdowns. When you're hiring, it makes 5 times more sense to use Indeed. Right now, we're giving new users a $50 credit to post a sponsored job on the world's #1 job site. Claim your $50 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Looks like some cable and phone companies are trying to sell home security. But when a burglar sees one of their signs in the front yard, what does it say? Oh, wow, this home has 599 channels. Or, oh, these guys have high-speed internet. But the ADT sign, it says, this family trusts the company whose name means security. So beat it. It's no wonder 5 times more people choose ADT to protect their homes.
Learn more at ADT.com and to see licensing and terms and conditions.
8:07 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Kennedy is jammed. Nagel to the Hubbard Tunnel, an hour and 8 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 38 minutes from Montrose, 26 in the Express. Outbound, it's 40 to the airport. The Edens, 23 minutes. Lake Hook to the junction. Outbound, 30. The Eisenhower, an hour and 7 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 50 minutes from Mannheim. Outbound, 52 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 15 minutes. 3:55 to the drive. Outbound, 37 minutes. Ryan, 32 minutes. 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, slow. Hollywood to North Avenue and 18th to the Stevenson. Northbound Oakwood to the Stevenson. Tri-State southbound, stop and go 132 to Atkinson. Northbound Archer to Ogden, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Reagan Tollway slow. Winfield Road to 355 and 22nd to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial delays. Boughton most of the way to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. Southbound 53, stop and go Rand to Kirchhoff. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
After a shower in spots, it turns out to be mostly cloudy today with a high 57. Overcast night, little late night rain, low 39. Windy tomorrow, wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour with periods of rain, high 43, and a low tomorrow night of 36. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
45 in clouds at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. The state of higher education in America. We talk about it quite a bit because it turns out to be quite important. And I need to keep track of this, what's happening. A very interesting piece over the weekend that features an interview, essentially, of Jonathan Haidt on the cultural roots of campus rage. Haidt is a psychologist and professor of ethical leadership at NYU's Stern School of Business. He says, does Haidt, a great majority of college students want to learn. They're perfectly reasonable, and they're uncomfortable with a lot of what's going on. But on each campus, there are some true believers who have reoriented their lives around the fight against evil. And this is the genesis the rage. Get to Haight in a second. I want to give a concrete example of what he's talking about at some of our best universities, including our service academies. How about this story? Jim Webb, former senator from Virginia.
Jim Webb.
Yeah.
Stands very ramrod.
That guy.
Jim Webb.
He is a former U.S. senator and Secretary of the Navy.
Oh.
He's also a distinguished graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. And he turned down last week a Distinguished Graduate Award from his alma mater, the U.S. Naval Academy. Turned it down.
Really? Why?
Because he was facing protests had he appeared on campus to accept that award.
Yeah.
Over an article he wrote in 1979 against the idea of women in combat. Webb said that he thought the protests would distract from the ceremony, and so he withdrew, saying, "I'm being told that my presence at the ceremony would likely mar the otherwise celebratory nature of that special day, and as a consequence, I find it necessary to decline to accept the award." I appreciate that Jim Webb is being considerate of others and their day.
Yeah, so do I.
But do you think he should have acceded to the what it turns out, as Mary Catherine Ham writes about in the Federalist, essentially the heckler's veto? Should he have accepted the heckler's veto of his appearance on campus and the acceptance of an award, which I think you could reasonably argue is warranted, given Senator Webb's service to our country, as well as his service in the United States Senate? Sometimes those two things are not the same. But what about that? Should he have done the gentlemanly thing that he did, or should he have made a statement by saying, "I'm not going to allow a small group of people who think they're fighting evil and I'm evil incarnate," because of this article I wrote in 1979, by the way. In 1979, I think you would be hard-pressed to find an infantryman who didn't agree with Webb's position.
Right, that's true. And opinions evolve over time, and women's physique evolves over time. And I think back in that time, men didn't feel that women should be in combat roles. And I'm not offended by that as a woman. I respect his opinion. He has a right to it.
And I think a lot of infantrymen maintain that view today.
Right.
Yes.
Some of them do, and some, if a woman is physically, if she can do the job physically is just as well as a man, then have at it.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of instances of that.
Well, right. I mean, this is the idea.
Because we are made differently. We are.
Yes.
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 Do you want me to go over the anatomy,
This
Dan?
just in. If you could leave some charts on my desk after the show, I take a look at them. But what about this larger?
The larger issue?
Yeah, 40-year-old essay. He also has expressed regret for the tone and effects of that essay.
I want to read the essay now.
So he's been pushed around enough that he's essentially had to more or less apologize for writing the essay in 1979. Now he's being pushed out of accepting an award from the U.S. Naval Academy.
Yeah, what do you think that he should have done?
Well, I appreciate his consideration of others, as I said, but I think, in these times, people are going to have to make stands on college campuses and stand up to a small group of
crybabies,
bedwetting thugs. And this was an opportunity to do that. By the way, it's really interesting because both of the articles in question, with respect to Webb's view on women in combat, were in conservative publications. Both articles, both outlets emphasized it was 40 years ago, and most other infantrymen at the time were also against women in combat and so forth. Obama put the women in combat policy in place in 2015. So it took 2 years for some conservative publications that published Webb's articles 40 years ago to get on board with what I think other conservatives would suggest is a dangerous, some other conservatives would, is a dangerous policy.
Some are saying that this paper, this manifesto, brought harm to female classmates.
Yeah, harm.
I mean, really,
here's the thing. So that's a perfect segue to Jonathan Haidt. Jonathan Haidt, he a longtime liberal, by the way. Haidt ran a gun control group as an undergraduate at Yale. He admits he never encountered conservative ideas until his mid-40s. And he founded in 2015 Heterodox Academy, which describes itself as a politically diverse group of social scientists, natural scientists, humanists, and other scholars concerned about the loss or lack of viewpoint diversity on campuses. And one of the things that Haidt has studied is religions across cultures and classes. And he suggests it's entirely natural for humans to create quasi-religious experiences out of seemingly secular activities, and he uses sports as an example. People who wear the colors, paint their faces, and all that stuff.
You did that last night, right?
Right, when you
for
go to
your
opening
Gonzaga
day for the Sox.
Yeah. Or for your Sox game.
Haidt says of that, it's all fun and generally harmless until it tips into violence, as in, for example, British soccer hooliganism. And he goes on to say, what we're beginning to see now at Berkeley and Middlebury hints that this campus religion has the potential to turn violent. The attack on the professor at Middlebury really frightened people, and and we've talked about it in the show, and it brought leftists out to condemn the totalitarian nature of these college campuses. Frank Bruni could no longer stay silent because this really struck at their core. Now, of course, they are the purveyors of all that has led to the assault on the campus of Middlebury, but they want to make it clear that while they support intolerance, they don't support violence as an expression of that intolerance. It's an interesting line they're drawing. Haidt goes on. There's a couple of important points that Haidt makes. He says students are armed with a set of concepts and words that do not mean what you think they mean. People older than 30 think that violence generally involves some sort of physical threat or harm. But as students are using the word today, violence is words that have a negative effect on members of the sacred victim group. And so even silence can be violence. And this is your point about what they're saying about Webb, that his article was violence to me, because words are violence if they offend a protected group or a group that believes it should be protected. Haidt describes the ideological transformation the left has undergone from a generation ago when social justice was understood to be equality of treatment and opportunity to today equality of outcomes. And he also adds, beyond college campuses, Haidt cites the new protectiveness in child rearing over the past few decades. Who you're bringing to college campuses. Historically, American children were left to their own devices and had to learn to deal with bullies. Today's parents, out of compassion, handle it for them. By the time the students get to college, they have much, much less experience with unpleasant social encounters or even being insulted, excluded, or marginalized, says Haidt. They expect there will be some adults, some authority to rectify things. When you combine that with the university's shift to a customer is always right mindset, add in social media, suddenly it's very, very easy to bring mobs together. And that's what's happening on college campuses, the Naval Academy being one such example. Ralph and Rantoul, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, good morning. No, I don't think he should have canceled. I think controversial talk, speech, it's a shame that somebody has to worry about offending somebody in the audience, so they're going to tailor the speech. Maybe you should send cards out ahead of time and have everybody put their favorite words and colors and animals on it. You could just read those from the podium. But regarding women in combat, I think only the Marine Corps still, for the infantry physical qualifications, they've not dumbed down the specs. And I think to date only 2 women have been able to actually pass that without modification. All the other branches of service have different physical requirements for the women because no matter training, diet, whatever, muscle mass, genetics, it's just not a good idea. I think it degrades the effectiveness of our troops and the safety of everybody overall.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. Robert in Northbrook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Robert. Robert?
Hello, Robert.
Robert, are you there? Robert.
Oh, wait, Robert's there. Try Robert.
All right, hold on one second.
Give it another
shot. Robert in Northbrook. Oh, Robert.
Darn.
Sorry, Will in Skokie.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
Yeah, my daughter went to the Naval Academy a few years ago, and I sent her a copy of that article you're reading, and she came back and she goes, "Hey, look, women in combat, it's happening, and the problems with it is basically when people are jerks. And she goes, the politics going on at the academy. Politics has been going on in the academy since the academy was founded.
Yeah, well, okay.
That's her take on it as a person who's gone to the academy.
Well, so she didn't see any problem with Jim Webb demurring on the award because of the feeling that he would be protested and upset the day. Is that unusual at the academy? It strikes me as unusual because I haven't heard a story like this before.
Well, you never had heard the story. It doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Well, okay, give me an example.
Right. She said Webb backed out basically because he just didn't want the controversy for the academy and for himself.
Well, right. Thanks for the call. Well, I understand, but is this something that has occurred at the academy routinely over the years, or is this something that's sort of a recent development consistent with where the culture on college campuses, including at the service academies, has gone? You'll note also that the service academies have become particularly anti-religious these days, at least if you're a Christian, with respect to religious expression on campus as well as in the armed forces themselves. So, no, I think there is something new going on. And my point is that the service academies, as well as our armed forces, are not insulated from that new thing that's going on that is rather pernicious. Lee and Hammond, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, if we're going to go make this completely politically correct, let's go after the sacred cow of all sacred cows and get women in the NBA and the NFL. Just go ahead and dumb down the requirements.
Music to my ears, Lee. I totally agree. Thanks for the call.
What's happened to this place? This was the home of ruthless media disruptor Samuel F.B. Morse. Who's his successor? That fellow?
Fellow. That word is cisgender normative, okay? You're worse than Hitler.
Too late for flattery. I'm not giving this school a dime.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Great dark day. Showers on and off this morning. Otherwise, for the makeup, the do-over of the Sox season opener, you're going to have mostly cloudy skies for a 1:10 start. No rain in the forecast, a high of 55 degrees. Tonight, a little rain toward dawn, and then tomorrow, increasingly windy. Periods of rain, just another gray day, but a lot cooler than today. It's going to be highs in the low 40s. Any high travel times? Let's get the answer from Jim Talamonte, who joins us from our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Yes, Amy, the inbound Kennedy is an hour and 4 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 35 minutes from Montrose, 28 to the Express, outbound 41 to the airport. Edens, now just 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 30. The Eisenhower, an hour and 10 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, 51 minutes from Manheim, outbound 49 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 11 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37 minutes. The Ryan is 32 minutes, 95th to downtown, Lakeshore Drive. Southbound, it's jammed, Hollywood to North Avenue, 39 minutes, Hollywood to Monroe. Northbound stop and go, Oakwood to the Stevenson. It's a big delay on the southbound tri-state from 132 to Atkinson. Northbound slow from the Stevenson most of the way to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. And the Reagan Tollway stop and go Winfield Road to 355 and 22nd to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial, Fountain most of the way to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
We're at Big Monster Toys tomorrow. That's part of our AM 560 business tour presented by Signature Bank that continues this spring, celebrating local businesses, overcoming the odds and succeeding. We're making businesses great again. And we want to continue to give back to the business community by broadcasting our show live from locations throughout Chicagoland. So if your business has a great success story, we want to hear about it. Go to 560theanswer.com/business. Fill out the form to tell us about how you and your business are beating the odds to succeed. We're going to select a couple more businesses as stops on our AM 560 business tour to broadcast from your location and share your success with our audience. Again, 560theanswer.com/business to tell us your story. 560theanswer.com/business. And we may be stopping at your location this spring on the AM 560 business tour presented by Signature Bank.
A good parking lot is essential to a good building and a good business.
This is Kevin Berquist. My company is SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. Great parking lots. The name says it all. We make your parking lot great. We are an industry leader in seal coating. You can trust our company to do the work for your company. We have the same traditional values as you. We use a process and application that makes sure you get a great job that lasts a long time. I guarantee you'll have a good experience. Go to our website, greatparkinglots.com. Check it out, greatparkinglots.com.
Go to greatparkinglots.com. Schedule a free inspection and get a quote to make your parking lot a great parking lot. Save the expense. Fix, don't replace. Contact SKC Construction now for commercial parking lot seal coating and maintenance. SKC Construction, home of greatparkinglots.com. greatparkinglots.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that this product works. I even recommended it to my mother, and she's been taking it, and she's 89 years old.
Makes me feel good. It really does. I could feel a change in my well-being, let's put it that way.
So far, it has helped my irritable bowel. So I'm just praying that it just keeps going, because you don't know. This was a dreadful thing. Dreadful.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
Balance of Nature, you guys are awesome. God bless you.
Hi, this is Jeff from Basement Flood Protector. We have the pleasure of protecting over 25,000 of your homes with our innovative and proven line of protection solutions. Our customers enjoy peace of mind knowing their homes are safe regardless of weather conditions. They enjoy peace of mind knowing our solutions provide the early warning mechanisms required to fend off problems in advance. And they enjoy peace of mind knowing when called upon, our solutions will come to the forefront and operate as expected. Have you ever received an email or phone call from your sump pump warning you of an error or potential problem? Our customers have. Like us, our customers believe technology does not have to end at the top of the basement stairs, and they rely on our technology to protect their personal belongings that they care so deeply about. We are Basement Flood Protector. Protecting homes from flooding is all we do. I invite you to call today at 800-238-0822 or visit don'tflood.com to learn more and for no-nonsense pricing. That's 800-238-0822 or don'tflood.com. Use the call letters of this station for a 5% discount.
Are you behind in your mortgage, facing foreclosure, being given the runaround on a loan modification application by some bank or servicer? Well, you're not alone, but I may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've put together a team to help distressed homeowners like you. Give us a call. We give everyone who's eligible a free consultation. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest analysis, counsel, recommendations, and advice regarding your options.
We are experts in doing loan modifications successfully. We know the regs. We understand the process. Most importantly, we don't take no for an answer. We fight. We are prepared, and we win. We save houses. We make houses affordable. So if you want to keep your house affordable, contact us.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
AM 560, The Answer.
There's a cute little story about a World War II vet who's finally come out as a transgender at the age of 90 years old. It's Patricia Davies, born Peter, and said that he knew all along when he was just 3 years old that he was really in the wrong body, that his gender didn't match the sex that he wanted to be. So his wife, they were married for 63 years, believe it or not, and she helped him with, she'd secretly buy him jewelry and dresses and high heels that he'd wear in private, but he's come out publicly and now he's taking estrogen treatments.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they can perform that invasive operation,
I wonder if binge-watching MASH had anything to do with it. I want to pick this up after the news, but sounding the alarm, a piece in World Magazine about those who transitioned and wish they hadn't at 8:38.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. The Trump administration is trying to pull in both moderate and conservative Republicans with a newly designed health insurance reform plan. Vice President Mike Pence is pushing the compromise proposal. Senator Rand Paul wants to haul former National Security Advisor Susan Rice to Capitol Hill. He'd like her to testify before Congress on whether former President Obama or others in the administration ordered her to unmask the names of Americans who may be involved in surveillance reports of foreign officials and agents. Some of those may have been Americans tied to Trump transition officials. North Carolina guard Joel Berry II, most outstanding player of the NCAA tournament. Despite the ankle injuries, he had 22 points in the Tar Heels' win over Gonzaga last night, 71-65. A self-proclaimed white supremacist who says he came to New York City to kill blacks is changing his attorney. James Jackson told a courtroom the switch is necessary because his parents will not pay now for his defense. One man is dead following a crash involving an unmarked Chicago police squad car. It happened last night during a shots fired call. That squad car was driving on South Michigan Avenue when that vehicle slammed into a Honda at East 105th. The driver of the Honda vehicle died at a nearby hospital. The federal government's role in reforming Chicago police is up in the air following the actions of U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions. He ordered a review yesterday of all police reform agreements nationwide and investigations that may have been initiated by the Justice Department. Immigrant rights activists are backing a proposed state law that would create safe zones where illegal immigrants can go without fear of arrest. The Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights is backing State Senator Don Harmon's bill that would bar federal immigration agents at schools, medical facilities, and Secretary of State's offices without a criminal warrant. Opening day for the White Sox being pushed back to this afternoon at 1:10. Yesterday's contest between the Tigers and Sox rained out. Cubs and Cardinals continue their season-opening three-game set tonight in St. Louis. Bulls and Knicks tango in New York, while the Blackhawks clash with the Avalanche in Colorado. The news service of Staples, filing your own taxes this year. Staples helps you be accountable with everything you need for tax season for less, with storage boxes and filing supplies to software like QuickBooks and TurboTax. And right now, get up to $10 off when you buy TurboTax. In-store only, ends 4/15/17. Staples, make more happen. 8:32 is our time. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Are you hiring? Join the over 3 million businesses that use Indeed.com for hiring. Post your next job opening on the world's #1 job site, Indeed.com.
Did you know that if you have mutual funds in your IRA, 401k, or investment accounts, that according to Forbes magazine, you could be paying as much as 3.17% in hidden fees every single year? 3.17% may not sound like much, but over 10 years, it's costing you 32%, whether your fund is up or down. Hi, it's Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group in Chicago and host of the Alpha Wealth Hour on AM 560. This is just one of the reasons I hate mutual funds, and you should too. You may not know this, but you have far more investment options today without the excessive fees. Learn what they are in my free report, The Truth Behind Mutual Funds. What you learn may shock you. To get your free report, The Truth Behind Mutual Funds, call 630-519-4742. There's no obligation. That's 630-519-4742.
Investment advisory services. Offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
You're the one that gets it done. The person your friends call to see if you can fix it. Brakes? No biggie. Shocks and struts? Simple and straightforward. The catalytic converter heat shield? Come on. If it has wheels, you can make it go. But not having the right part can bring your project to a screeching halt. Problem solved with MyPartsGarage.com. My Parts Garage is not a big box store that needs to wait to get a part in. My Parts Garage is the warehouse that sells wholesale to you. They own the inventory, so your part is always in stock. But wait, there's more. Like free shipping within 24 hours, in-state next-day delivery, or pick it up today at the warehouse. Plus, the customer service is seriously awesome. So the last thing you need to do is drive fast and furiously to find auto parts. With the average driver in Chicago commuting at least 24 miles per day, people are spending more hours in their car than they do at home. Drivers need you, the mechanic. You need MyPartsGarage.com. Lowest prices guaranteed.
Coming up at 8:35, let's get a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. On the north side, Sheridan Road remains closed between Foster and Bryn Mawr with police activity. The Edens runs 24 minutes like Cook to Montrose, outbound 31. The Kennedy, an hour and 4 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 36 minutes from Montrose, 28, and the Express, outbound 25 to Montrose, 47 to the airport. The Eisenhower, an hour and 8 minutes Thorndale to downtown, 52 minutes from Mannheim, outbound 51 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 12 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37 minutes. The Ryan is 34 minutes, 95 to downtown. Tri-State southbound, bottled up, 132 to Atkinson Road. Northbound from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, Ogden to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial slow, 75th to the Reagan Tollway, Butterfield to St. Charles, and Army Trail to 290, southbound 53 at Northwest Highway, got a crash in the left lane. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, a little light rain fell this morning. Otherwise, we'll have clouds throughout the day. High 55. Overcast overnight, rain toward dawn, low 38, and a blustery spring day tomorrow, high 44. 45 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Kind of two stories that I think are appropriately twinned. One is this issue you mentioned before the break, this World War II vet that's transitioning from male to female.
At the age of 90.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't think that their body could handle an actual operation, but she is being pumped with hormones, with estrogen.
Yeah, I think that's well beside the point. But
you want to hear from Tranny?
Okay.
Tranny Granny? Because he is a grandpa.
I am Patricia Davis. I'm 90 years old. I have known since the age of 3 that I was in the wrong body. The atmosphere, people did not understand what transgender was, and also the medical profession didn't really understand it because the treatment during the 1950s right through till fairly recently, I think, was to give electric shock treatment.
Yeah, so that's how they handled it back then. If you said you were transgender or thought you were in the wrong body, they would give you electric shock treatment.
So, Peace and World magazine sounding the alarm. Robert Wenman was 4 years into being a full-time transgender woman in in Ontario, Canada, when a police officer asked him, "You got all your legal rights by now. Why don't you just enjoy life as a woman?" The question left the then LGBT activist stuttering. Here he was, training a group of law enforcers on transgender rights, yet he couldn't answer a basic question. Why? Why was he still campaigning, still fighting? Turned out that a psychiatrist back in the early 90s told Robert Wenman he had gender dysphoria and advised him to transition into a woman. And Wenman's response at the time was, "Oh, yeah, of course, that's it. I'm really a woman in a man's body. That's what explains my unease, sadness, awkwardness, shyness,
well, even
loneliness."
And the Canadian healthcare system, they paid for his sex reassignment surgery and 10-day post-operative stay.
Right.
And the court changed his birth record. I mean, he got everything that he wanted. He even had a secure job at the Canada Post with full access to female facilities. His family accepted him. I mean, what could be wrong?
So he stewed on this question that was posed to him by a cop that he was training, thought about all the ways he had blamed, quote-unquote, intolerant society for the destruction in our souls. Yet he thought enough about it that he reached a painful acknowledgement that he was fighting for transgender rights, but he was really fighting an internal battle. I've been trying to fix things on the outside without fixing the inside, said Wenman. After 17 years living as a woman,
Oof.
Wenman, now 60, has detransitioned back into a man.
Really?
He clips his white hair short, wears plaid shirts and slacks from the men's department, prays for a wife. Since his surgery is irreparable, he wonders if marriage is possible and mourns that he'll never enjoy his own children. Kathy Grace Duncan formed her earliest image of women through her mother. What she saw was weak, vulnerable, abused. Whenever her father mistreated her mother would slip into Duncan's room and cry. As she listened to her mother sob, the little girl thought, she's female and I'm female, but I don't want to be like her. Duncan's parents were distant with her, but her father showered attention on her baby brother. She concluded, I need to be a boy in order to get attention and affection and affirmation. And so she transitioned into a man, legally changed her name to Keith, wore slacks and a tie to work, had a mastectomy, dated women. Then one day, a pastor called her to a prayer room and asked, who are you really? For the first time, Duncan spoke the truth. I'm a woman living as a man. Instead of her default, I'm a man who used to be a woman. To this day, Duncan doesn't know what prompted her to say those words, except that the Holy Spirit blew in, that those are her words. Mm-hmm. And she said that she thought the Lord was calling her back to being a woman. For the first time in years, she slept blissfully for 2 days. It was like this tremendous pressure on my shoulders had been lifted. I had been living a fake life for 11 years, constantly tracking back to make sure people didn't know. Walt Hires, a 76-year-old ex-transgender who speaks publicly about his regret, says he gets regular emails from despairing transgender men and women who found him through his website, sexchangeregret.com. Many underwent irreversible surgery and now regret it. They write him horrified and helpless. What do I do now? I feel like dying, is the nature of their pleas. So again, the unmitigated celebration that we're all supposed to be party to when it comes to people who transition.
I'm on that website right now, sexchangeregret.com, and it says up to 20% have regrets. Sex changes are not effective, say researchers.
We know the heightened incidence of suicide and other destructive behaviors, both pre and post, because there's something at the core that needs to be remedied, and it has very little to do with gender or gender dysphoria. And unfortunately, some people get led down a primrose path and they wind up in this place with the stories that you're hearing that, of course, you're not going to hear anywhere else or unless you read World Magazine. But certainly you're not going to hear in the D.C. Press Corps and the Chicago Press Corps because that's where the bias comes in. All those objective scriveners in the quote-unquote establishment press corps, the credible news sources. They only tell you the story they want you to hear. They don't tell you the other examples, the other stories that don't end with a reality TV show, that don't end with cutesy videos directed at the president like Caitlyn Jenner, that end in sadness and sometimes in even worse self-destructive behavior, which is why I go back again, and this is the challenge to all the T advocates, transgender advocates, and all those who mindlessly celebrate this without any contemplation for the implications. Why did Johns Hopkins, the pioneer in gender reassignment surgery, stop doing gender reassignment surgery, particularly in this day and age where it is celebrated in culture? Why did they stop? Because they're a right-wing organization? Because they're funded by the Koch brothers? No.
No, because they realized there's underlying delusional psychological problems.
Because they realized they were not upholding their Hippocratic oath to first do no harm. Because they realized they were not acting in the best interest of their patients. That's why. Talked to Paul McHugh, the former head of psychiatry at Johns Hopkins.
Well, what about what's going on in our schools? I mean, you look at the kid at Fremd High School, who's a boy, now a girl, on the gymnastics team. And I mean,
we're supposed
to... Are we celebrating that by letting them change in the girls' locker room?
We're supposed to accept it without consideration because, everybody's living their truth. And that's what this is, too. I'm living my truth, so let's celebrate it. And also, as medical professionals, the psychiatrist who pushed Robert Weinman to get gender reassignment surgery, is that an abrogation of professional responsibility? I don't know, maybe. And it's hard to know what that psychiatrist knew or understood to be true at the time.
I mean, there's a new gender identity department at Children Lurie's Hospital.
Right.
That specifies specifically, it's all your donations to Children Lurie's Hospital. Some of your donations are going to this department. That helps kids who are confused.
So here's the thing. Here's the story that I wanted to twin that story with. This is about science perfecting us and perfecting the world. New Yorker, extensive New Yorker piece, Silicon Valley's quest to live forever. On a velvety March evening in Manville Canyon, high above the rest of L.A., Norman Lear's living room was jammed with powerful people eager to learn the secrets of longevity.
Is it a cream or a topical ointment?
When the symposium's first speaker asked how many people there wanted to live to 200 if they could remain healthy, almost every hand went up. Liz Blackburn was there. She's a Nobel Prize winner in genetics. She took questions from the likes of Goldie Hawn, who asked about the mitochondria. Goldie Hawn, saying, I've been told about a molecule called glutathione, or glutathione, that helps the health of the cell. Some in Hollywood call it the God molecule. She was informed that in taken in excess, it can muffle a number of bodily repair mechanisms leading to liver and kidney problems, or even the potentially fatal sloughing of your skin. But hey, if Hollywood says it's the God molecule, go for it, Goldie. The question, though, is if you could live to 200, would you? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 646-36DA, turnkey.pro text line. This event was kicked off by the National Academy of Medicine's Grand Challenge in Healthy Longevity, which will award at least $25 million for breakthroughs in the field of longevity. Sergey Brin at Google, Peter Thiel, Trump's guy. They're all on this bandwagon that they have no plans to die. Listen to this one. This is where we're going.
I don't want to live to be 200. Do you?
My attitude is the attitude of the drunk in Kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
When Woody Harrelson, who's living in this hovel, walks out on the porch and there's a drunk on the porch there, and Woody Harrelson says to him, "How's life?" And the drunk says, "It's taking forever." That's my attitude. So that's my answer to the question of whether or not I want to live to 200. Listen to this one.
My great-great-great-grandma, who's still alive, by the way. That's what our kids can say. Oh, I mean mine, but they're still.
Martine Rothblatt, the founder of a biotech firm called United Therapeutics, which intends to grow new organs from people's DNA.
Gross.
She says, clearly it's possible through technology to make death optional. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
She has already commissioned a backup version of her wife, Bina, a mind clone robot named Bina 48.
Gotta get love somewhere, huh? Even if your lover dies, there's that's gross. My mind went astray.
Well, here's the thing.
Dirty town.
If now you got to qualify that. Do you want to live to 200? Do you want to live to 200 if your wife Bina is replaced by Bina 48? That's a different question.
As it is. Oh.
Cy in Homewood, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, everybody. I would love to live to 200. It would give me another shot at watching the Cubs win the World Series.
Oh, hell.
Oh, Cy. Well done. Thank you for the call.
Yeah, he's funny. Stop it.
Here's somebody. Oh, my. Could you imagine if Sean from Elmwood Park lived to 200?
My poor.
Or if there was a Sean 48 to replace Sean from Elmwood Park?
Don't give him an idea.
Sean.
He could run the cigar shop.
Better yet, why would you bring back the same wife? I mean, what a waste of a few years. Are you out of your mind? And as for transgendering old men, have you seen the Senate? Do you think Mitch McConnell even has to shave anymore, the old bag that he is? I mean, and as for the guy who wants to find love after he's removed the three-piece set and he's now 65, Well, you're going to be the perfect husband, pal. Have you talked to a woman after menopause? They're not really looking for a tiger in the sack. They just want someone to watch the Hallmark Channel with and talk about sunsets. You're the perfect husband. He's not the guy that's going to have to worry about a date. It's old men like me. And I mean, are you? It's outrageous. And the position that we've evolved into their intelligence is so ridiculous. As you heard this old man. Well, back when I was they used to do shock therapy. Well, look at some of the books. And when you walk around, you see an old man with lipstick and a wig on. I think you should hook him up to a battery.
Thank you for bringing it all together as usual, Sean.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Forecast for today, cloudy, gray, just a yucky day, but we will be able to squeeze in that Sox-Tigers game at 1:10. It'll be mostly cloudy and 55 degrees. Tonight, A Little Rain Toward Dawn, name of Dan's high school band, A Little Rain Toward Dawn. Cover band of?
Eddie Rabbit.
Thank you. Perfect. And then tomorrow it's going to be cloudy, very windy around here. Just a cool, raw day, a high of 44 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Jim Talamonte, how is that inbound Kennedy?
The inbound Kennedy, Amy, has delays starting at Nagel, and it's gotten a little worse. An hour and 9 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 40 minutes from Montrose, 31 on the Express. Outbound 44 to the airport. Big delays on southbound 53 from Dundee to Northwest Highway. With a crash in the left lane, and northbound there's a Gapers delay from Algonquin to Northwest Highway. Edens is 24 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 34. The Ike, an hour and 6 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 44 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 12 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37 minutes. Ryan, 35 minutes, 95th to downtown, Lakeshore Drive, the Lawrence to North Avenue, and 18th to the Stevenson, northbound 31st to the Stevenson. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Upstream-ideas.com, the digital platform that complements what we do on this show. 60-second commentaries, podcast of Illinois Rising, our program that airs on these airwaves Sunday at 3 p.m., focuses on state of Illinois politics and policy. Long-form interviews this week featuring David Keene, the former president of the American Conservative Union and the National Rifle Association, on the last 40 years of conservative thought and policy, as well as Follow the Logic Man on the Street segments. You have to check this out. UIC students, actually, trying to follow the logic of higher ed funding in Illinois, and they do a much better job than members of the General Assembly. That's worth seeing and sharing at upstream-ideas.com.
Want to know the secret that all those house flipping gurus won't tell you? Flipping multi-unit properties is easier and more profitable than flipping single-family homes. With over 17 years of experience, we here at RE Mentor will show you the art of buying and selling multi-unit properties. Come spend the afternoon or evening with our team of experts, and we will show you how to put $10,000 to $30,000 in your pocket over the next 90 days. This 2-hour class will teach you the art of the multi-unit flip. You'll learn how to buy, hold, and sell multi-unit properties with no money down, no credit, and no risk. You risk nothing but have everything to gain. This intensive 2-hour real estate class is coming to the Chicago area soon. Call 1-800-805-1859 to secure your seat. This seminar is free to the first 30 people that call. Change your life now and learn the art of the multi-unit flip or long-term hold. Call 1-800-805-1859.
You know, if you see a huge group of people and they're all in line waiting to do something and they're all happy about it, don't you wonder, okay, what's going on? What am I missing here? What are these people excited about? In this case, it's thousands of people doing the same thing. They're joining Medi-Share. Medi-Share members share each other's medical expenses. It's that simple. It's growing like crazy because it works. Think about it. You don't have to deal with health insurance companies anymore or government health insurance. Instead, you're part of something you believe in. You're part of a community of people supporting each other. And you can save so much money. This could be the answer you're looking for. And it may be one of those things you start doing and then wonder, why didn't I look into this a long time ago? Find out more. Don't miss out. Call 844-41-BIBLE. Now, it's available everywhere but Montana. 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE.
Hey, are you thinking about the IRS right now? Man, if the IRS is coming after you, your problem, your IRS problem is there day and night. You need help. to fight the IRS. I recommend you call my very good friend, Attorney Stephen Leahy of Open Tax Resolutions. Hey, he's got a special offer going on right now. If you're not certain about your position with the IRS, he will pull your personal IRS transcripts and find out exactly where you stand for free. Find out where you stand. If you owe back taxes, if you have unfiled returns. Hey, if you're afraid of the IRS, call my friend Steve Leahy now. 312-664-6649. Steve's the host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard every Sunday at 5 right here on AM 560. He's also a really good friend of mine, and I don't know of anybody better in dealing with the IRS. Call him now. Steve Leahy, 312-664-6649. That's 312-664-6649.
Fruits and vegetables are one of the very best, if not the best way to help protect your body from many of the lifestyle diseases plaguing our nation. Eating over 10 servings of fruits and vegetables daily will help build your immune system to over 720% and is the single most important thing you can do for your health, along with diet and exercise. Why are fruits and vegetables such a powerful health consideration? Because they contain tens of thousands of phytonutrients prepared especially by Mother Nature to nourish our body on a cellular level. Dr. Howard successfully formulated and perfected a mix of 31 different fruits and vegetables and scientifically removed the water and air through a proprietary cold vacuum system, reducing them into a super powder which maintains 99.9% of its nutrient value, then packaging them into vegetarian capsules ready for consumption. Here's Dr. Howard.
What does good nutrition not benefit? Can you name anything that good nutrition will not help? It's not a cure-all. The scope of what it can help is so wide because our bodies are really fabulous, amazing chemical laboratories. Everything that functions in your system is a chemical response. Keeping that chemistry in balance and keeping the cells communicating with each other the very best possible way is absolutely the best way to reduce your risk of disease and also help your body help itself even fighting most of these diseases.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
One of the coolest gadgets out right now is the Amazon Echo, also known as Alexa. You've seen those commercials, right, Dan? Alexa, get me this. Alexa. Why can't his name be Jeeves?
Reggie Miller, right?
Yeah, Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller.
He's out of Coca-Cola. Alexa, buy me more Coca-Cola.
And I think I've seen Samuel Jackson in him too because he's in every commercial.
Stop it. Well, it's like your own personal assistant, right? There to answer all of your questions. So enter for your chance to win an Amazon Echo Dot by downloading or visiting the AM560 mobile app. Just click on the banner to register. It takes only seconds to do, and good luck.
And tomorrow we'll be on location again, part of our AM560